What's going on, fellow A-Plusers? It is I, your host, Adam Perez. We are back once again with a brand new live episode of A-Plus Hero Report, your weekly stop for your Marvel, DC, movies, and television news. It is I, your host, Adam Perez, joined none other than by co-host for the weekend, Will Polk, ladies and gentlemen. We got 6 incredible topics we're going to be talking about today, so sit back, relax, enjoy the show, and we'll see you guys on the other side. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another live episode of A-Plus Hero Report, streaming live for you guys wherever you're at on the East Coast, West Coast. Good morning, good afternoon. It is good to see everybody here today. It is I, your host, Adam Perez, and I got my boy Will joining me today. It's been a minute. You guys probably might recall him from some of our Jedi Council times when we broke down a ton of our Star Wars shows over the past couple of years. Will is back. What's going on, man?
What's up, Adam? How you doing, man?
Pretty good. It's good to see you, Will. I appreciate you coming through today.
Yeah, good to see you, and thank you so much for having me on. I know it's the 11th day of the year, but and some people are weird about this, but Happy New Year.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's cool, man. I hope you had a good holiday. I hope your Christmas
Yeah,
and your New Year's went well. What'd
yeah.
you think about that Panthers game yesterday, man?
Oh man, so it's mixed feelings because on the one hand, we've been in the doldrums for many years. I've been a fan of that team since we got the team here in North Carolina, and it was great because if you told me back in training camp that they would even be in contention to the playoffs, but actually make it to the first round in the wild card and literally lose in the last second. I mean, that game went to it literally the last second. I would have been like, I think we'll be competitive this year, but they're definitely ahead of schedule, and I think the future's bright for this team. But it was definitely a heartbreaker, but very proud of the team, and it was a fun season, and I can't wait for this upcoming season.
Yeah, man, they gave the Rams everything they could handle yesterday. I wind up
Yeah,
literally, I didn't catch the whole game. I literally wound up catching like the last half of
yeah,
the third quarter
yeah,
and the fourth quarter.
yeah.
But
Those sort of quarters.
both,
Yeah,
yeah, those both games were actually really great.
yeah,
Especially coming down to the wire yesterday. So a really good kickoff to NFL playoffs football, y'all. I know we're supposed to be talking about Marvel and DC and television and movie news, but yeah, we're
yeah.
big football fans here, so it's
Oh yeah.
it's playoff season. You know what I mean?
It's playoff season, and yeah, I'm trying to trying to catch up on Fallout because we're talking about that tomorrow on our
Oh,
podcast. So,
nice.
with Stranger Things and the holidays and whatnot, I missed the first 4 episodes of Fallout, but almost done. But yeah, between all the football games and everything else, yeah, playoffs, NFL, college, they kind of like take priority as far as the viewing habits in my household.
Yeah, no, I feel you. Yeah, my it's so funny because I rewatched Fallout season 1 in order to catch up for season 2, and then season 2 was maybe like 2 weeks deep already,
Yeah,
and the girlfriend was like, "Have you caught up yet?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's go." So we started season 2, and I ended up falling asleep in the middle of the first
yeah,
episode, just because it was just late when we started it.
yeah, yeah,
And now she's ahead of me again, and I'm like, dang it, like that.
yeah.
Now I'm behind, so I gotta catch up. Luckily, there's only 4 episodes out right now, but I definitely have
Right,
to
right.
catch up to season 2.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, I'm liking it so far. It's yeah, whenever well, like I said, we'll be doing it on our Cena Nerd podcast this week. We just finished up Stranger Things, like everyone. Uh,
Nice.
but uh, but yeah, so that's going to be our topic this upcoming week, and then of course we have the new Game of Thrones show spinoff
That's right, on
coming.
the 16th or
Night,
something like that,
yeah,
right? Uh-huh.
yeah, the 18th,
The
next Sunday
18th.
night.
Man,
Yeah,
that's crazy.
so yeah, so we'll be discussing it on Night of Seven Kingdoms. So if you're a Game of Thrones fan, then I guess this one's set in between the uh, House of the Dragon and of course the Game of Thrones
Game of Thrones
original
series, yeah.
show series. So Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to it. It looks relatively good. There's a couple movies I'm trying to get off of my plate. I have not gone to, have I gone to the movies this year?
I
I think I've only gone for the Stranger Things finale. I don't think I've sat down
okay,
and
yeah,
watched a new
yeah.
movie yet. I still got Marty Supreme on my docket.
Oh,
People
same.
have been telling me to go see The Housemaid. Um, I want to see that new We Bury the Dead, that new Daisy Ridley zombie
Oh yeah,
movie. I want to see that. And then I've got, I think this week, 28 years later, The Bone Temple comes out.
okay. Hmm.
Me and the girlfriend got to set some time for that. So I gotta go to the movies this week. Will I gotta
Yeah,
catch up?
yeah,
I gotta catch some films.
yeah, yeah. I'm in the same place with you. I was hoping to catch the Stranger Things finale in the theater, but it just didn't work out.
It was an
Yeah,
experience, man.
yeah. I was wondering how it was watching it collectively with a bunch of people.
Yeah,
But
collectively with a bunch of people that like are emotionally invested. I
yeah,
mean, you hear the gasps, you hear the sobbing, you hear the cheers. I mean, it really heightens the experience for sure.
I'm sure. I'm sure. Yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, I was tallying up how many movies I saw last year in theaters. I saw a total of 41
Oh
in
wow.
theaters. Yeah, I think that's probably the most that I've seen in a single year. So I'm gonna try and see if I can get to 50 this year. But my January is starting off slow, man. So we'll see.
Yeah,
We'll see how this
yeah.
goes.
Well, 2026 is just going to be a huge year as far as films, as far as both genre films and things outside of it. So, which
Yeah.
I do have to, yeah, I do have to ask. So, what are your thoughts on the on Marvel's rollout of the four trailers for Avengers Doomsday?
I mean, I don't have a problem with it. I'm kind of enjoyed them for what they are. Like I don't look at them as full teaser trailers, so I'm not
Right.
expecting too much about it. And when we were almost about a little bit over a year out from the movie itself, I don't mind them giving the fans a little bit of something to
Yeah.
just whet their appetite just a little bit before we really start getting into full on promotion. I mean, I do think it's a level of smartness to put it in the
Yeah.
consciousness
Yeah.
of people as of right now. So as like little bite size teasers, like
Mhm.
that's cool. I appreciate anything I can get from the MCU at this point, building up towards
Yeah.
Doomsday.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
but yeah, I don't mind them. I like them for what they are. It's not getting
yeah.
me like hyped, but I'm
Yeah.
like I'm appreciating them. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. It's for me. It's one of those things. I'm kind of the same place as well. I think it's as I was telling Sarah on our show. It's more it the, the the smartness of the marketing strategy where it shows up in other places. Like for example, with my Panthers, whenever we made it to the playoffs, the team and their social media team created a hype video, and then ended with the Panthers will return in the playoffs. So it's like all the ancillary things around it. That's where Marvel like really like. That's when Marvel's like back because
yeah. It's that pop culture
it's
like
the pop. Yeah,
stamp.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's
Their
that's so
impact.
yeah, that impact. So that's where I'm like, okay, now okay, I'm feeling it because yeah, I will not lie, I was kind of getting off that Marvel train a little bit, but then I have to say Thunderbolts definitely got me back on, uh, and um, and so and then to see these little teasers and like I said with the as it starts to infiltrate the cultural zeitgeist again, where
Yeah,
people are like spoofing
yeah.
things, sort of like what we saw at with speaking like Stranger Things. So, we
Oh
also
yeah.
for whenever it was like at its height, it was like bleeding into other like promotional things. So
Yeah, I literally just saw a State Farm commercial with
mm.
the girl that plays Nancy.
Oh yeah, I saw that
Um,
during the game yesterday. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, she was in it. I think WWE even like themed their whole entire night on Stranger Things.
Hmm.
Them being in like the upside down and stuff, the way they
Yeah,
presented it,
yeah,
it was like so. Yeah, it's definitely it's cool when like stuff that we watch like bleeds into pop culture that way. Just bleeds
for
into
sure, for
everything
sure.
else. It's pretty dope.
Yeah.
Let's I do want to give some people some opportunities here. Look, we are live right now. Remember, guys, at the end of the day, these are simply our A plus opinions, but we always want to know yours. So as we go through topics, feel free to go ahead and let your thoughts be known in the live chat. We'll definitely bring your guys' comments up. So let's go ahead and go through some of these real quick. And shout out to people joining us live today. We got Ricky Perez in the house. So I saw the first image at a scene from an upcoming Toy Story 5 featuring an older Bonnie holding lily pad. I haven't seen any new images yet from Toy Story as of yet, but we'll see. I'm trying to bring up this other comment here. It's being a little bit, there we go, being a little bit slow for me.
Yeah.
Also tonight is the big night of the Golden Globe Awards 2026, airing on CBS and Paramount Plus. Thank you for the reminder. I didn't even know
Yeah.
it was as of today. Also, yesterday they released a teaser trailer for number one Goes User versus Boom Boomger, the last Super Sentai versus movie will mark its 30th year in March and home media in July. Yeah, I think Peg C, one of our one of our followers here, I think he sent me a poster for this Super Sentai movie team up. I didn't realize it was coming this late, so appreciate that heads up, Ricky. I'll have to check out the trailer myself. Um, some more tokusatsu news here if I can bring it up. It might not let me bring it up, but it says finally yesterday they announced that a Super Space Sheriff Gavin Infinity production announcement will be held on January 18th. On details on the project, Red's first tokusatsu series. So, yeah, this is a new tokusatsu series that's supposed to be dropping in February, I believe. But it looks like January 18th, they're going to have a press conference. Usually every year they have like a big press conference to introduce people to the fans, or introduce to the cast and give you more details on what the show's going to be about. So people are pretty excited about this. This is
Yeah.
so you may, I don't know if you're familiar or not, Will, but one of the tokusatsu series, Super Sentai, has been going on for like 50 years. And
Yeah.
they are officially canceling it or putting it in hiatus, and they're bringing back an older tokusatsu series that used to be Space Sheriff Gavin. So he hasn't had his own show in a minute. He's popped up in a couple crossovers here and there, but it's been probably several decades since he's actually had a show. So they're
Okay.
launching a new series for him instead. So that's what they're talking about.
Got it. Got it. No, I'm not familiar with this one, but
Yeah, if you
always happy looking. Yeah.
yeah, think of like when it comes to Super Sentai, think of Japanese Power Rangers is usually what I always
Okay.
prefer. It's really the inspiration for Power Rangers.
Got it. Got
We
it.
got Blossom in the house. Appreciate you coming through, Blossom. We got Peg C. Good to see you, Peg C. Johnny Morero in the house saying, "What's up, man? Good to see you." Peg C says he's off today. Lucky. Glad you have the time to yourself today, man. Enjoy the weekend, bro. Um, Pexi says he's been doing some binging of the original Gavin series to mentally prepare himself for the show. So very cool, man. Very cool. Yeah, my
Yeah.
let me see if I need to, I might need to close some things here. Give me a minute because my connection is kind of laggy right now before I go into our first topic.
All right.
Um, that's okay though. Let me see. Will this let me give me 1 second. Let me see if it'll let me go into our first segment. Hold on a moment.
All right. No worries.
No, no. Oh, no first segment yet. Okay. All right, internet. Thanks for being cooperative today. It is one of those days. Will.
Oh yeah. Well,
Uh,
I also have mic issues beforehand, so 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 it's my
yeah.
fault, y'all, for us being late.
No, it's all good, man. It's all good. Well, no biggie. Yeah. Hopefully this thing will start acting up for me. It's like completely frozen on my side here. Okay, I guess it's gonna take us to honorable mentions. All right.
All right. All right.
Thank you, internet, for getting us ready for our next segment today. Let's see here. For those of you who aren't familiar, honorable mentions is just a portion of the show where we talk about topics that didn't quite necessarily make our top six, but felt that you certainly deserved to know about them. I highly doubt that my internet will let me pull up some of these still frames, so I'm going to try and go through these one at a time for you guys. Let's see here. Oh, we did get some brand new posters. I don't know if it'll allow me to pull up these posters or not, but we got some brand new posters for Godzilla Minus
Oh yeah.
Zero. I don't know if you had the opportunity to see this the other day, but they released them or put them out because they have a brand new. We finally have a release date for the sequel, which is set to be in November 6th of 2026. What
Yeah.
did you think about the first one? Did you like the first one more?
Oh, I love the first one. Completely lived up to the hype. I really enjoyed it.
Did you get a chance to see it in theaters at all?
I did not. I saw it on streaming, but it's definitely it was one of those moments where I was like, damn, I should have seen it in the theater.
They had it was a very limited screening for Godzilla Minus One. I did happen to catch it at my local AMC. Um, well, it's not. It is kind of semi-local. It's maybe like 20 minutes away. It's like one of the bigger theaters inside the
Yep.
mall. They got like a bunch of screens, so they can afford to kind of put the smaller, limited releases out there. And I remember catching it, and I was blown away, dude. I was so blown away.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited for the sequel. So the sequel drops
Same.
June 6th. Let's see here. What other news do we have? For you Black Mirror fans,
Yeah.
apparently we got a season 8 on the way.
Yeah.
So look forward to that. I don't know if there's a release date that has been set as of yet, but it has been renewed at least for a season 8. So definitely look forward to that.
Yep.
What else do we have? We got The Housemaid is in the news this week also, because we have a sequel that's currently going into production. So it's been have you seen The Housemaid, Stuart? I mean,
I have not.
Will?
No, I have not. I have not.
Everybody that I have known that has seen this movie talks highly about it. They tell me all the time, Adam, you got to go see it. You got to go see it. So it is on my list of things to do, but it's been gaining enough um, recognition that a sequel is officially in the works. So look
Okay.
forward to that,
Okay.
y'all. What else do we got? We have a new poster for the upcoming Sam Raimi movie. Send Help
Oh yeah.
wind up dropping.
Yeah.
They
I
also
did see
dropped a
that.
new trailer.
Yeah. I did not know that Sam Raimi was making this until I saw the poster last week, and I was like, oh, I had no idea, but good for him.
Yeah, this looks really good. I'm actually really excited for this one, to be honest with you. Anytime Sam Raimi, like anytime he's directing something, I'm like, I gotta check it out. I'm such a big fan
Yeah.
of his style.
Yeah.
And they did drop a brand new trailer here this week also that just really dives more into Rachel McAdams' sort of character,
Hmm.
her love and interest of being a survivalist. And now she gets to be in that situation with her jackass of a boss.
Yeah.
So I think she's gonna be living out a lot of people's dreams in this movie, who are
Yeah.
frustrated with their boss for sure.
Cool.
But yeah, it looks good.
Cool.
Let's see here. We also got some new Supergirl images.
Yeah.
Supergirl drops some brand new first look ones here. I love this suit, Will. I really
Yeah.
do. The belt, especially, I think is a really great addition. I think that it is definitely a costume change from what we saw at the end of Superman.
It is.
But I love this costume on her.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm definitely feeling the costume and just really looking forward to this film. Even though I was watching the hot mic and Jeff Schneider, he's one of the co-hosts with John Roca, said something that now I can't unsee it, and that is that Will Poulter and um, looks uh, and our girl here are like the same person, and I just can't get it out of my mind. I'm like, well, maybe they're civil. They do look like they could be civil.
Yeah, maybe they're connected somehow and they don't even
Yeah,
necessarily know about it,
yeah.
you know?
I was just like, why would you do
That's
that
so
to
funny.
me? Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
it's funny because it's it's funny he says that just because you know um Supergirl on our Facebook page just gets so much hate sometimes. Like
yes,
when I post pictures or I post the teaser trailer or anything like that, it gets, don't get me wrong, it does get a ton of great reactions, but eventually
yeah.
the trolls come out.
Oh
It's
yeah,
just hard not to keep them away. But
oh yeah.
I can't tell you how many I can't tell you how many Will Poulter as Supergirl pictures I've seen posted in the
Yeah.
in the comments section, and it's just like, oh, the disrespect, man, the
The
disrespect.
disrespect, yeah. I'm like, yeah, but I hear you. I didn't want to engage in the trolling, but it was just one of those things like, oh, yeah, I can understand
No,
why.
it's yeah, no, I get it all the
But I'm
time.
really, yeah, but I am really looking forward to this, and I like the vibe that the film is giving off, and it just given that Clark's sort of the Boy Scout, and anybody who's familiar with Supergirl's story, especially with the Man of Tomorrow, written by Tom King,
Mhm.
it makes total sense for why the character is and not the character that we saw in the CW show. Because I think a lot of people are either familiar with the character from CW or the old Helen Slater film from back in the '80s, which
Oh
of
yeah.
course that unfortunately is in that quest for peace level of film that poor Christopher Reeve had to go through with this final outing as Superman. But yeah, but I think Millie's gonna really gonna do a super excellent job with this, and I think the directing team is also just a vibe from the trailer. I thought it was a lazy take. People said look like Guardians.
Mm.
That was that was just like, come on, that was just the most unimaginative take ever. But I'm liking the vibe, and I'm looking forward to this film in the summer.
Yeah, I am looking very forward to Supergirl for sure. It's funny because well, shout out to my boy Nuclear Man from Quest for Peace. Growing up as a kid, I used to love him as a
Yeah,
villain for sure.
yeah.
But yeah, no, this movie should be pretty good. Man, I had a comment on my tip of my tongue, and now I can't remember what it was in regards to Supergirl. Um, Dang it, I lost it. Maybe I'll come back to it. Maybe I'll come back to it. Um, just before we're almost done wrapping up honorable mentions. But Spider-Man is back in the news here. There is a report that's going around, um, or a rumor, I should say, that's going around that apparently Sony is now reportedly more open to sharing their Spider-Man characters with Marvel
Huh.
Studios. This is from the insider Daniel RPK. I usually don't report on a lot of his stuff. I just don't know how I feel about or like know what his track record is. So I
Yeah.
try not to report on it. But I thought it was kind of interesting that he said this. It is a rumor, so take it with a grain of salt. But he says Sony is now reportedly more open to sharing their Spider-Man characters with Marvel Studios. If that's true, that would be wonderful news for those who have wanted more crossovers between the two universes. Um, for me, it's just one of those things where it's like, I mean, I don't know how um, I don't know how. Let me see if I can get this down. There we go. There have been reports that Sony has been wanting to take a break from doing Spider-Man stuff. Um, that they have been wanting to really more focus on Spider-Man Brand New Day, their team up with Marvel right now before they, make any decisions as to where they go, whether they do more spin-offs or anything like that. So the timing of this kind of makes sense. Um, this doesn't read like, oh, they want to give all the rights back over to Marvel. I don't think that would be a smart move on Sony's part from a financial standpoint, but it seems like they're definitely more open to it. So I am kind of curious as to. I mean, they already kind of use characters when they do these team ups, so maybe this is them saying, "Hey, we're still open to this deal that we have with Marvel." Um, but I don't know who I don't like. I don't know where that limit stops for them in regards to like if there's certain characters that Marvel can't have. Because it feels right now that anytime that they do team up with Marvel for a Spider-Man movie, that like the book is open in regards to like use whoever you want, with the exception of like maybe Venom.
Right.
Um, but so I this makes sense to me at the end of the day a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if that again, to your point, a lot of it's these scoops and rumors and stuff. Take them with a grain of salt. But if it is indeed the case, I think it will be a good thing for them to allow this for more characters to be used in these collaborations.
Yeah, I think so too. The only person I could see not being on there, um, not being given an option to use is probably Miles. I don't know
Mm,
why.
yep.
I feel like Sony really wants to keep Miles to themselves. But we'll see. We'll see what their plans are after Beyond the Spider Verse. And you mentioned this before, Will. The teasers for Avengers Doomsday. This is not a spoiler. This is out public for everybody to go see for themselves. But they did have a this is the third teaser that we've gotten, and this is the X-Men teaser that we've been looking for. Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen, and James Marsden returning as Cyclops in here, just absolutely epic. Um, Xavier's school is in shambles. We got Charles and Magneto, two old men here. Looks like they're battling for their lives in this teaser. What did you think of this teaser in general? Was this one of your favorites out of the three that we've gotten? What do you think this sets up the X Men for the MCU?
Yeah. So of the three, the Thor one for me is my favorite
Your favorite? Mhm.
because it just gets back to. Yeah, I just really love the emotional pathos that Chris Hemsworth was given the character, especially like how and even he has said how he has not liked how the path that the character went down the goofy trail. So it got Thor back to it to that more gravitas of a character. With the X-Men one, I think for me it was clearly seeing James Marsden back as Cyclops
And the
in
costume too.
a costume exactly in the comic accurate costume. I mean, of course we did see the finally get a comic accurate costume for Wolverine and Deadpool Wolverine, but to see in Marsden and just my Gen X heart just went straight to the night X-Men '96 cartoon.
Ah,
Whenever we see, when they do the intros, the characters
oh
and
yeah,
Scott,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I did like that aspect of it, and then the rest of it, it was good. It was good, and I did see that the fourth one, the fourth trailer did drop this weekend with Avatar, because I know they've been releasing them in the theater
Yeah.
first, and then uh, giving it wide distribution a few days later. And I saw it last night. I was strolling on Threads, what it was, and I was trying to find it here while we were talking. But that's my first thoughts of the trailer. And hi there, Blossom. I see you in the chat there.
Yeah, we yeah, they had yeah, I have been seeing reports that the fourth trailer has dropped in front of Avatar. I haven't seen the leaked version yet, if it is out there. But usually come like Tuesday or Wednesday. Yeah, like you said,
Yeah.
Marvel does release like the official version of it. So, well, I'll probably end up talking about it next weekend, whenever it
Oh,
drops. But I'm kind of
yeah,
excited for it though.
yeah, yeah. It has some Black Panther, the fourth one. That's what it was. 'Cause I just wanted to double check that I wasn't like making up something. Want to always try to be accurate, but yeah. So just reading a report from USA Today, and spoiler alert for folks who maybe hit mute while you don't want to hear it. But it opens with Shuri, the current Black Panther, walking through a desert environment. As she says in the voiceover, "I lost everything that matters to me. A king has his duties to prepare our people for the afterlife. I have mine." But then
Mm.
the trailer shows a glimpse of Namor, um, and it's also his cousin Namora, and and we also see some of the Wakandans, including M'Baku, walking up to Ben Grimm of the Fantastic Four, and he introduces himself. King,
That's crazy.
yeah, yeah. So this is and it closes with a shot of Shuri looking ready for battle as the text reads Wakandans and the Fantastic Four will return in Avengers Doomsday. So that's from
You know, I just
USA Today.
I find the collaboration an interesting one. Um, in regards to maybe that's where yeah, the idea of like the Fantastic Four ending up in Wakanda. How did they even
Hmm.
get there in the first place? What's the circumstances that leads them there? This would be interesting. You say one. When you said his cousin Namora
Yeah,
was in
yeah,
it. I am kind of surprised that she's in the just in the tease. It makes me wonder if she's
yeah,
going to pop up in the movie too. Um, I mean, she is a character in the comic books, but I would never have imagined that they would have utilized her again after Wakanda.
yeah.
But I think that's kind of dope.
Yep, yeah. That is. So yeah, and also she wasn't on any of the big, the whole day, unveil of all the cast and any of the call sheets. So it's
Yeah,
interesting that they teased that sort of like they with as well. So that sort of like with Steve Rogers. So we'll see.
yeah, and Namor finally meeting Sue Storm for the first time. That'll be an interesting one. We'll see how that's
Yes, that
we'll see
will.
how that turns out.
I've seen that. I've seen the panels.
It's like, oh man.
Yeah,
We got Bubba in the house. What's up, Bubba? Wakanda forever. Good to see you, Bubba. Um,
yeah, yeah.
Peg C says, I love seeing the Cyclops suit brought to life in live action. Yeah, me too. It looks pretty dope. It's like, bro, what took you so long? I mean, it was
Yeah,
already a dope costume, like
yeah,
you should have
yeah,
brought it to life a long time ago.
yep. Well,
But all
correcting
right.
correcting a lot of mistakes from the Fox era of X Men.
Yes, yes. That's the truth for sure. For sure. All right, guys. With that out of the way, you know what? Let's go ahead and tackle these main topics, man. We got six incredible topics we're going to be tackling for you guys here today. We're going to start off with some big Star Wars news. Look, since I got my Star Wars boy here today, we're going to be
Yeah,
talking some Star Wars for you guys. Also, we're going to kick off the show with some Star Wars, and then we got some other topics from DC all the way to some live action Disney and just some movies in general. So sit back, relax, and let's do this. So yeah,
right.
first up, Star Wars is back in the news here. I always love this image, man. Just really bringing together all the trilogies and generations of Star Wars. But we may be having a new um, a new change of guard, if you will. Will. Um, right now in the news, Kathleen Kennedy. We've talked about Kathleen Kennedy here in
Yeah,
the past. The idea that people have been trying to out Kathleen Kennedy for quite some time,
yeah,
for years now. I remember people saying, "Oh, they're gonna fire her this year. She's gone. She's gone." And here she is. She's still here. Over the past year, though, the talk of a succession plan or her at least leaving as the head of Lucasfilm has increased to the point to where I believe sometime earlier last year, Kathleen Kennedy had
hmm,
to come out and say, I'm not retiring. I'm not leaving
yep,
as of right now, sort of thing. At some point I will, but as it's not today. I think she has been open about the idea that there would be some sort of secession plan that is happening, and that certainly seems to be the case this week. As of right now, let me pull this up. This is according to, well, if it'll let me pull it up. Where is this article at? Where are you at? Where are you at? Oh, here we go. This is coming to us from Games Radar. Hopefully, it'll eventually bring it up here. There
okay,
we go. Dave Filoni is reportedly set to take over for Kathleen Kennedy as a co-president of Star Wars studio Lucasfilm. Now, the article does go on to clarify because it's not necessarily just Dave Filoni here. It says Lucasfilm's chief executive officer Dave Filoni is reportedly set to take over from Kathleen Kennedy as co-president of the Star Wars studio alongside Lin-Wen Brennan. According to Puck's 2026 predictions, Puck's newsletter, Kennedy will step down later this month The publication reports that her publicist has already set up her exit interview, and Filoni and Brennan will replace her as co-presidents. Brennan is currently president and general manager of Lucasfilm Business. So she'll handle the more traditional executive side of things, while Filoni will be the decider on the creative direction of the franchise, television, and any other platforms in the galaxy. Um, Last year, this is what Kathleen Kennedy says. She says, the truth is, and I just want to say it loud and clear, I'm not retiring. I will never retire from movies. What's happening at Lucasfilm is I have been talking for quite some time with Bob about an eventual, what's eventual succession might look like. We have an amazing bunch of people here, and we have every intention of making an announcement months or a year down the road. So she's kind of mentally prepared us for this. That yes, the succession certainly is planning on happening, and as of right now, according to Puck News, the we are probably going to be going the co-CEO route of Dave Filoni on the creative side and Lin Linwin Brennan as the sort of financial executive side of Lucasfilm here, um, really taking uh, a step in the direction that DC Studios
Yep,
kind of went in
that's what I
with
was thinking.
their James Gunn thing.
Yep.
Um, how do you feel about this, Stu? I'm sorry, I keep calling you Stuart. I'm just so used to
That's
him as my co-host. No, no disrespect to you,
no,
Will. It's just
no,
it's
no,
just a
none at
slip
all.
of the tongue.
No, none at all. None at all. If I call, yeah. No.
You can
So
call
as
me
far
Sarah
as
though. It's okay.
yeah,
But
yeah, I was gonna say Sarah, or I was gonna say Crystal, or even say Stuart too, because usually Crystal and Stuart with our thing. I have to give a shout out to our buddy Crystal with you see the Hut Slayer since we were talking Star Wars today. I wanted
oh
to give
yeah,
her a shout out to her bad feeling, her line of Star Wars fan memorabilia. So,
dig it.
but as far as with this Kathleen Kennedy story, I mean, it's one of those things where yeah, whenever you mention the co-leadership, that my first thought did go to the excuse me, the DC example of with James Gunn and oh gosh, Peter what's
Saffron.
Peter's last name? Safran, yeah, Peter Safran's, yeah. And but uh, Kathleen Kennedy gets so much crap, and I think a lot of it's undeserved, and because some of it is deserved as well, though, because where it's not deserved, this is the she has been the creative and supervisor force both pre Disney and post Disney. But in the Disney era, she is responsible for a lot of good and great, which the great definitely includes the Andor, seasons 1 and 2 of The Mandalorian, and notice I said seasons 1 and 2. Um, but she's also has overseen a lot of things that some of things that didn't go so well, some of which was in her under her control, and some of things that wasn't under her control, like for example, the pandemic, because the pandemic definitely caused a lot of problems with production schedules, with maybe having to retool projects that they had one thing in mind and then it went another way. But then there's other things where I think, and I don't know if it's her fault. I mean, well, at the end of the day, she is the head, so some of this may also fall on Disney, especially Disney in the space um, where Bob Iger has stepped away, and Bob Chapek, I think his name was the
Yeah.
CEO of Disney, and they went through the streaming era, and really wanting to just blow up things on Disney Plus as far as just creating content for that streaming platform. So so we dig into a space where they were like, and you get a project, and you get a project. It was like the Oprah meme. I mean, it was really where things were just a lot of things were getting greenlit. I mean, we had I think we had the Disney D23 days where they like announced the Patty Jenkins like Rogue Squadron,
Yes.
and then in any number of other film and streaming projects that just got announced, and then it just went away, or who knows, you know, it's a stay developed. So, so I think from that standpoint, when I say there's some things that, you know, she things do probably rightfully like fall at her feet. That's where I get at that. You know, and as far as the sequel trilogy and the creative things that went on there, yeah, there's probably some. You know, there's also some places where they could have had things a little bit button more tight as far as, you know, if they knew that JJ only wanted to do one film and then handed the reins over to Ryan Johnson, they could have maybe done a better job of just making sure that there was good continuity between the stories as far as an overall vision. And again, you know, I think her role, yeah, I'm not sure how much of her role was in the creative versus the business, but even as part of, if let's say the scale tipped more towards the business side, you still, you know, she still, as the overall quarterback of the thing, that you go back to our, or the head coach of everything, you know, she should have had a better idea of like, okay, here's the game plan that we're going to have with the sequel
Yeah.
trilogy. And
Yeah.
even if we do switch out creative leads as far as directors, you know, here's the, you know, let's make sure we got a good solid story so that then if you do want to go the direction that Ryan Johnson took things in, and you know, clearly there was a lot of split feelings among the fandom as far as how that went. You just should have been like, okay, JJ come back, but let's just not let's not pretend that, you know, that film didn't exist and try to and just try to, you know, and create the jumbled mess that final film in the sequel trilogy was. So there's a lot of things I think happened there, but you know, but you got to give her flowers where they're due, and Andor both creatively and critically were, and I think now as people really, especially in these times, really appreciate that series for what it is and what it did. And of course, Mandalorian and Grogu, and we are finally getting things back on track as far as the theatrical uh, releases now with Mando and Grogu, you know, coming out on, in the theaters this year. We also have the Starfighter as well, and also the James Mangold project. So assuming that one, the Mangold project, you know, hopefully it does get filmed. But we do know we definitely are going to get at least two feature films coming up here in the Star Wars universe. So I think overall, I would have to give her A minus B plus overall. I mean, you know, just like everyone, she you know, we have our fails, but I think she's leaving things in a good place with the franchise.
Yeah, I definitely do think I am going to be interested to see what the next couple of projects for her are going to be like, because she has, like you said, she has set up you know, we've got Mandalorian and Grogu that's dropping later this year. We got Star Wars Starfighter that's going to be coming out in 2027, I believe. And then after that, we also have um that Simon Kinberg
Hmm.
trilogy that's supposed to kind of be in the works that he's in the process of writing and fleshing out. We'll see if the James Mangold thing kind of comes to fruition. So there are definitely some projects that are currently in the works behind the scenes that I think have allowed this transition now, I think, for Dave Filoni and them to come in. Um, and at least have a few years to kind of build on top of what some of the groundwork that she's kind of laid for them a little bit. So yeah, the next couple of years will be interesting to kind of see how that all comes together. You know, I'm actually really glad that you brought up the Dave the Bob Chapek thing there, because you know, that was an interesting time, not just for, you know, because of the pandemic, not just for Marvel Studios, but also clearly Lucasfilm too, right? Like we get on Marvel Studios' case for the idea of quality over quantity over quality, and how they kind of produce things under Bob Chapek during that time. But for some reason, it's almost like we've kind of had blinders too, that maybe Lucasfilm has kind of been impacted by that same mentality that maybe Bob Chapek had during that time.
Yeah,
And they put out some real stinkers there for a little bit. And granted, yes, Kathleen Kennedy certainly is head of Lucasfilm, so the buck usually stops with her. But it is an interesting reminder of the outside influences, especially that of the CEO of Disney at the time with the new mandate that can really throw a wrench in whatever plans that Lucasfilm certainly might have had.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so
yeah.
I'm
I
glad you
think.
brought that up.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, honestly, I think Mandalorian, just given the success, and we were all just so after the sequel trilogy. I think we were. I think all the fandom was just like we're just starved for this like really something new and fresh and different. And I see some of the comments in the chat and about the whole go woke go broke and stuff. But just stop it with that. I mean that's I think anyway the there was some. I think the Mandalorian and Grogu definitely like helped give them some cover, give their franchise a little bit of cover because like especially that first season, and the second even season two, and season 1.5 in Book of Boba Fett, um, those all were critically and again commercially very successful. I mean, it got Baby Yoda. I mean, people were losing their mind, losing their shit over Baby Yoda. So so I think that definitely got some goodwill back on the franchise, so that Lucasfilm was able to sort of ride, Marvel was getting all the hits at that point because I think that the Disney Plus shows on Marvel were just so all over the place. I mean, you had the bangers of like WandaVision, but then you also had Secret Invasion, and so
Oh God,
so
yeah.
so, but then of course I think with Star Wars, I mean I think it's all of us, regardless of how you feel about some of the other where about things. Book of Boba Fett was the fail. Um, I think I think the um, Obi-Wan show. I think it had it. I see it. I saw this in Star Trek with the Section 31 film
Mm,
that they put on streaming, where it was clearly intended to be a feature film,
right. Yes.
but they had to they recut it and refashion it to be a
That's
series.
exactly what Obi-Wan felt like.
And so I think and we've all talked about how creatively the Star Wars shows and even the Marvel shows how they're edited, and like how it seems like it just one thing it, it, it just seems that the the Disney shows always felt like, even if they were intended to be series, the way they edit them sometimes feel like there's like incomplete movies. And so so those are some of the creative choices that again, going back to my earlier point, maybe this is where I don't know how much just falls on Kathleen Kennedy's feet as much as the creative folks. So again, yeah. So buck stops with the CEO as always, but some of these things also, um, like I said earlier, some things are probably definitely you can lay at her feet. Some things are just things beyond her control, and they all. I just don't know. I'll just be completely honest. I don't know how much Big Disney was pushing his thumb on things at Lucasfilm, um, that may have created some of the situations that we saw during portions of her tenure.
It's interesting you bring up the some of the shows with editing or the way that they're presented. Felt like they should have been movies. There was I just remember when the whole streaming service thing really kicked off for both Marvel and Lucasfilm. It was one of the things that I used to hear people say all the time was like, "Oh, this is gonna be like a 5 or 6 hour movie for you guys," in regards to how they kind of wanted to present it. And then um, in later years, they have revealed the idea that a lot of these television shows for streaming were made more like movies instead of television shows. And um, those are like two completely different things, like filming for
Right.
TV and filming for movies are two completely different things. And so
Yeah.
the idea of like maybe having a script for Obi-Wan and thinking to yourself, like having a movie script for Obi-Wan and thinking, oh, let's just turn this into a television show. I feel like you have to completely rewrite that script then,
Yeah. Yeah.
or because you can't just like extend scenes or just add filler to what should be a 2 hour movie, and then now you got to make it 6 hours or 5 hours worth of content sort of thing. And so when you thinking about it, when you go back and you watch some of these shows, yeah, that's what it feels like. It feels like a really disjointed movie that wasn't really built or made for even a limited series kind of release
Yeah.
at the time. Like Mandalorian and Grogu feels that way to me because of just the episodic like aspect of it. But some of these other limited series stuff, especially if you look at Marvel Studio stuff and some of the other Lucasfilm stuff that they presented, if they have that mentality of we're going to make movies, but just make them into 6 hour movies, like that doesn't work when
Yeah.
you
And,
should
and
be having that TV format in mind.
yeah. And that's my big concern with baloney. Um, and I'm glad to hear that if this does go forward, as far as him sticking on the creative side, and you have another person, Brent, what's her name, Brennan? She's going to
Uh,
be the
yeah,
more,
Lin Brennan.
yeah, she's going to be more on the business side. I'm hoping that Filoni will, for example, we do know we're getting Ahsoka season 2, and I'm hopeful that they've really gone back and looked at, like, okay, how can we, from a creative side, how can we cut these shows and edit these shows a little better? And and look to another streaming platform who does do it pretty well, Netflix. I mean,
Hmm.
um, because Netflix has, they their their model, their creative model is the bingeable show. Um, and so Netflix, now here lately they've been getting a little rocky with it because they've been doing these part ones and part twos,
Oh, like the
but
volume releases, yeah.
yeah, the volume releases. But historically, they have done a very good job of creating content for the streaming platform. I mean, they have, they do have the good model for that. So I'm hopeful, especially like for example, the early seasons of Stranger Things, and given that you have a Shawn Levy who is now in the Disney fold, in the Star Wars fold in particular. Hopefully they'll take some notes. It's like, hey Shawn, you know, how do we cut a show for and direct and edit a show for streaming? I'm hopeful that hopefully that'll be in the next generation of streaming content, especially given that we're the volume of streaming content is going to be less because it's just at the business
Hmm.
side of things. I'm hopeful that they'll do a better job of just like structuring shows so that we don't get what we saw in Generation One of streaming content
Yeah.
on this platform, where it's just like you gotta uh, yeah, you'll see the runtime. It used to piss me off so much about the Star Wars shows. I'm rewatching Skeleton Crew with my wife now, and you'll see the
Why is this
runtime.
episode 25 minutes? Why?
Yeah,
Why is that?
exactly,
Why?
exactly. It's like 40 minutes of runtime, but then it's really only like 20 minutes of story and like another 20 minutes of credit. So I'm really hopeful that they will like
Ew.
figure out how to like properly cut these shows, because that's
I
another
feel
thing that
so
streaming
robbed.
does. Yeah, yeah,
It's you're right in the idea of a bingeable show because like literally when I watch Stranger Things, or just a lot of shows on Netflix. Like each episode ends on some sort of cliffhanger or some shit, or some sort of OMG moment that like makes you literally want to go and watch the next season, or the next episode. I mean, even with the volume releases for Stranger Things, the final episode of those volumes at least leave you on a point of where it's like, oh my god, I need this, I need the next episode quick. But there been countless times I've watched the Star Wars show, whether that be the Acolyte or Ahsoka, and it ends, and I'm just like, that's it. Like
Yeah,
credits, credits just pop up. I'm like,
yeah,
that's it. There's
yeah,
there's no there's no
yeah,
momentum in regards to moving on to the next thing
yeah,
sometimes. And
yeah, and
it really minimizes it.
yeah, and maybe like for example, we got Wonder Man coming up. I know I'm trying not to like talk about Marvel content, but it is on the it is all big, all Disney. But they're dropping all the episodes all at once, and maybe you know if it I think it gets to the like for me it's like one of those things. If you're going to if the plan is to do a weekly release for a show, do it like the old traditional way that when seasons were like 20 episodes long or whatever. Go. I know we're not going back to that era, but if you are going to do an 8 to 10 episode season and you're planning on doing a weekly drop, I mean, like The Boys, for example, on Amazon. Amazon, again, you looking at other platforms. Amazon is a good example of a platform that, you know, with their shows, know if they're going to do the weekly drop, then it's a beginning, middle, and an end. Um, whereas, or like they're doing now with like some of these shows, if you're going to go more like you said with if you're going to end it on a note where you do want people to binge it, then cut it that way. But it's just this hodgepodge of like content of how these things work. Sometimes it hurts some of the IP, I think, because
Yeah,
like yeah, because I mean like Skeleton Crew, I felt whenever we watched it, it worked as a weekly release. Um, Ahsoka
yeah, I did.
probably would Ahsoka honestly could have been a binge.
Hmm. Yeah, I I will say in regards to the Filoni thing, I kind of dig the co-CEO route of things here. I do like the idea of maybe taking some pressure because Dave Filoni is definitely not in position to be an entire head of Lucasfilm as of right now. So the smart decision on their part, I think, the co-CEO is certainly the perfect route. I think if you're gonna go here. I'm not too familiar with Lin Wen Brenner's work for Lucasfilm outside of her being like the the manager on the business side and whatnot. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed that she certainly knows the ins and outs of being some level of executive producer also, and at least making sure that the finances for Star Wars, whether it be the budgets or whatever the case may be, are allocated really well. The idea of keeping Dave Filoni focused on creative, I do think is certainly smart. Um, the Dave Filoni story is just an interesting one to me because there was a time period, and people may want to try and be history revisionists now, but there was a time period where people were hot for Dave Filoni, where Dave Filoni was like the hottest thing that Lucasfilm had. And they were just like, give this man whatever he wants. If Dave Filoni wants a movie, give it to him. If he wants to be the head of Lucasfilm, give it to him. Run everything through Dave Filoni. I mean, people love them some Dave Filoni. And then ever since Ahsoka season one came out, people are it been a lot of really lukewarm on him. And one of the things that I've said for Dave Filoni is like, look, it takes time to transition from animation over to live action. So there's a part of me that is hoping that when it comes to Ahsoka season two, I would like Dave Filoni to show me, hey, I've learned a thing or two from season one. I've taken a lot of notes from live action directors, and I've been around a lot of big heads here in Lucasfilm that I've improved. I'm really hoping that Ahsoka season two improves upon season one. I want to see further growth from Filoni. If he can show that to me, um, then I will feel a little bit more comfortable about the idea of him being on the creative side of things. And my only thing is that I have heard stories before of people saying, had Dave Filoni been the head of Lucasfilm, we may not have gotten something like an Andor. And that might be true. I don't know how Dave Filoni felt about Andor at the end of the day. Um, but I am just hoping, because people say, he's got such a love for Ahsoka. He just wants to do these animated series in this time period and stuff. I just hope that as the creative person, that really is going to be pushing Star Wars in his vision and in a new direction, I do hope that he has an open mind in regards to
Hmm.
content that just new content and
Yeah.
bold direction, and that he doesn't just stay in what is comfortable for him and in his wheelhouse. If
Yeah.
somebody pitches him a really cool live action concept that takes swings and does things differently, maybe in a completely new timeline or revisit another timeline that we haven't really played around with, I'm hoping that he's flexible enough to be like, you know what, that sounds incredible. Like, let's try and figure out who's going to work perfectly for this series, bring them together, and then make this work. Instead of thinking to himself like, I really want us to focus on this era only right now, and we got to do this first before we do this first. Like, I just hope he doesn't get stuck in what he's most comfortable with.
Yeah.
And I do wonder if that's going to be a challenge for him or not. I still want to see him do some things creatively, but I need to see some improvement on Ahsoka season 2, and I really want to hear, hopefully at maybe the next celebration, or once Kathleen does announce that she wants to leave. I hope that we get ourselves some level of an interview with him to really get an idea of what his plans are, what his vision the for Star Wars and how he kind of views it going forward is going to be like. Because I think that's really important to hear from Filoni, to give people some levels of comfort. And so,
Yeah.
again, that's really what it's going to come down to. Will Filoni be open minded enough to pursue new things, or is it? I don't. He doesn't seem like the my way or the highway type of guy, but because of the stuff that Filoni has done, it seems like it's all with the same characters, or all within the same
Yeah.
timeline period.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
hasn't really branched out too much, and so I'm challenging Dave Filoni to, if this is in fact true and he's going to be a new co-CEO, just from a creative standpoint, I hope he's open minded enough to take some risks for sure.
Yeah. 100% agree. 100% agree. That we he yeah, basically from the uh period basically between Clone Wars and I guess post Return of the Jedi, he's definitely like we've mined that era this era
So
pretty well. I
much,
mean,
dude.
it's so much in
Yeah.
terms of Star. I mean, so
It's like,
I'm there with you.
I feel like in his head, he's literally going in order, at least, right? Like, he started work on the Clone Wars, and now his mind is like, what comes after the Clone Wars? And so
Yeah.
he's just filling in this
Yeah.
pre-Rebel, Empire time, whether that be Rebels, Bad Batch, and stuff, right? I think
Yeah.
he might have produced Star Wars Resistance, which was, I think he
So
might have
yeah.
produced it.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he actually wrote for it, which is during the First Order time period. But that's really what I'm going to need for him. Kiki and Luca in here says people have disparaged Filoni by saying he's the Ahsoka guy, not the Andor guy. And I've heard that before
Heard
too.
that too. Yeah.
And so I'm really hoping that Dave Filoni kind of proves us wrong, and takes Star Wars in a new creative path, if that's the case. But I think Ahsoka season 2 will prove a lot of things for me, and then I definitely need to have a sit down interview with Dave Filoni and just hear what he's got to say.
Agreed. Agreed. Yeah, I've heard that. Hey, Crystal, what's up? Got your shirt on today. But the heard that. I don't think we're going to get Andor again. I think
I don't
Andor
think so
again.
either.
It's nothing to be. It's nothing. as far as the disparagement, I think it was just a very, you know, difficult show to produce because originally it was going to be a 5-year show,
Yeah.
and they did cut it back to 2. I think it was again part of the early era streaming, and but that being said, I am hopeful that, to your point about Filoni, that because we've seen we can do this type of drama in the Star Wars universe.
Yes.
So even though we may not get, so I hope we can, even
Like
though it doesn't necessarily have to be like, the period leading up to to the Empire and that kind of stuff. We do have the old, we do have the First Order that sort of just kind of popped up out of nowhere, and if they wanted to like fix things in that from Rise of Skywalker, if that could be a way to do it. Not, and again, I'm maybe talking out of both sides of my mouth. Where I'm like, oh, do we have to go back and revisit Skywalker era and all that kind of stuff?
But I mean, that's
But
like 25 years of like unmined
yeah,
story that
yeah,
we could still tell.
yeah, and you could do an Andor like series to give us some context for what the First Order is, why it was such a dark force beyond somehow Palpatine came back, you know.
Yeah.
So that's one particular way that they could do it, or or a fresh story. I was hopeful that quite honestly the Acolyte was going to go down that path, the way it was originally billed, that it was going to be a murder mystery, and all. What we got was a mismatch
Now,
of things where I don't know what didn't know what I'm not sure what it wanted to be,
yeah,
but
I think Filoni's eyeing the High Republic era, and he's just like, we're gonna fill that with animation. Like we're just gonna put
yeah,
animation stuff in there
yeah,
now.
and maybe that's the route you have to go. But maybe it's kind of hard to tell a hard, heavy story like an Andor in animation.
Yeah, I do hope that I hope that Filoni understands like it's okay to do prestige television, you know?
Yeah, that
Like
that's yeah,
it's okay to do high quality stuff. Like there's nothing like he does have this soft mentality of like it's got to be accessible for everybody or accessible for
yeah,
kids and stuff, and that's cool and all. But you have different categories
yeah,
and ages of people that you have to still very much
yeah,
appease, and it's okay to make your animation stuff, your lighthearted stuff, that for everybody, your four quadrants. But every now
yep,
and then, like you got to hit people, the adults, with some sort of a
yeah,
prestige
yeah,
television.
yeah. And Andor definitely is proof of concept that prestige television does work in Star Wars.
Yeah. Marcion says I would take a High Republic animation. I would too, actually.
Yeah,
I'd be open to it. Just give me a different animation style, please. Like I'm tired of Bad Batch and Rebels and Clone Wars all looking the same. Just give me a new creative team. Hey Will, one more time. Show off that lovely shirt of yours.
oh yeah,
Crystal says it
there we
looks
go,
so good on you. Give us a little fashion show. Very
there
nice.
we
Hot Slayer.
go.
Check out Crystal's Bad Feelings t-shirt line. You'll love it, guys. You'll love it. But let's move on from. So we'll see if that again. They're talking about the idea that Kathleen Kennedy may come out as early as this week or next week in regards to this succession plan. So we'll see if this is true. 9 times out of 10 so far, it has not been true. Um, she had to come out and address it last time, but maybe this time there might be something certainly here. But from one Star Wars story to another, we're going to move over to Star Wars Starfighter, as Shawn Levy is in the news here this week. For those of you who don't know, Shawn Levy has in fact wrapped production on his Star Wars movie. That's right, another Star Wars movie is coming, ladies and gentlemen. It's official. It's going through post production right now. They're editing this bad boy, putting a soundtrack to this bad boy. So outside of Mandalorian and Grogu, Star Wars Starfighter will be next. And this week, Shawn Levy was in the news because we had a couple things happen. One, there was a set visit apparently to Star Wars Starfighter, but also Stranger Things wind up wrapping up. And for those of you who don't know, he's an executive producer on Stranger Things, and he has helped do some directing and some maybe some
Mm,
writing work. I'm not sure, but definitely some directing work on Stranger
yep.
Things. And he had a couple things that he wanted to say in regards to um, during the Stranger Things interview. Let me go ahead and try and bring this up here for you. One of the interviewers say, "I'm sure you've seen recent headlines asking if Stranger Things is the next Star Wars, and you're kind of in both worlds. So, what can you tease about Star Wars Starfighter?" He says, "If I've learned anything on Stranger Things, is that you can get intimidated by the scale of franchise expectation, but you will lose your way if that's your focus. I've learned the need to stay rooted in character, themes, and relationships on screen. Yes, there's spectacle and scale, just like Stranger Things. And of course, Star Wars Starfighter has spectacle and scale and adventure at a level I've never done in my whole career. But like Stranger Things, it's also very more anchored in a human scale character size story. I think that if I can balance the epic and the intimate the way that the Duffers have with Stranger Things, I'll make a movie and an original and new Star Wars adventure that can be really satisfying to fans and audiences. Well, I gotta say, um, I am really inspired by this answer. I
Mm,
really
me too.
hopeful by this answer in regards to what he can possibly bring to us when it comes to Star Wars Starfighter. I'll say this. For those of you who don't know, one of the episodes that he directed was the escape episode for Max out of the mind of Vecna. I can't remember if that was episode 7 or if that was episode 6. The
Okay.
escape from Casmataz or whatever it was when she tries to help Holly escape also. I was a really big fan of that episode. I saw it was
Mm,
directed by him, and so I was very keen on kind of paying attention to how that episode was going to transpire. There is a very long monologue in here by Max that I think kind of throws the pacing of the episode off just a little bit, but I won't give
yep.
that to Shawn Levy because that's more of a writing thing, and maybe an editing thing in the booth also. But as an entirety of an episode, I thought it was directed beautifully. He's There's also always a great addition of music that helps, especially with some of his editing choices. The back and forth of seeing Max and Holly both running towards their memories in order to escape, I thought was a really great sort of climactic moment. The idea of like having to see Lucas running with Max and having the threat of the Demogorgons chasing him down, sort of thing. There is a level of intensity that really works. But I also love the intimate scenes that he had to kind of work with. Like even the I think that's also the same episode where we get Nancy and Jonathan having to do their non or their unproposal or their non-proposal
Yep.
scene.
Yep.
Um Really directed beautifully with really great emotions and stuff. In the article, he talks about how difficult it was because of like the stuff melting around them and whatever the case may be, and just like from a set design, just trying to get it kind of all together. But I would challenge people to go back and watch Stranger Things and specific episodes that Shawn Levy directs. And I think he does a really great job of being able to focus on the characters, the emotional moments, but then also giving us some really big um, epic pieces in regards to action or climax. So you know, there's a part of me that's got to think, especially when you've been working with the Duffer Brothers for as long as he has, that from a character perspective, that he's probably learned a thing or two. And one thing that I hear from a lot of people on the Star Wars Starfighter, whether that be Ryan Gosling, whether that be Mia Goth, whether that be Matt Smith, one of the things that they said is that, and again, you can say, look, every actor is going to say this, but I am always fascinated with how confident they feel in the script. You know, Matt Smith said something along the lines of like, I think we've got a winner here, or like I really think this one is gonna have legs. Mia Goth, who's been in great things from like Frankenstein recently, saying how much fun she had on this set and just how like impressed with the script that she certainly was. To be able to land a big name like Ryan Gosling to even want to be a part of this Star Wars project. I think there's even rumors that is it Amy Adams? I think might be um I think it's Amy Adams that might be in this movie also. I don't think that's just a speculation that I've been hearing. But um for them to be this excited and to feel this way about a Star Wars project, to me, it just feels like maybe Shawn Levy has something here. And the fact that he talks about being able to balance the characters, the emotions, but also at the same time, the big epic scale action, I think is going to be really imperative for him. And then after seeing how Stranger Things, the last season went, especially the episodes that he's directed, and just how well I think the Duffer Brothers have crafted these characters, it's hard to imagine that you stick by somebody for such a long time and you don't necessarily learn those things. And so I'm kind of hopeful that he's been absorbing how to write better. I'm not saying that he's been a bad writer or anything like that, but just continuing to improve on his craft. And if you could tell a real intimate story, something similar to what the Duffer Brothers have, but then also add your own flavor of fun and adventure and big epic scale pieces. I don't know, there's just something that he says here just kind of gives me a little bit more
Yeah,
confidence that he might be onto something
agreed.
here.
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, Amy Adams is in the film. Is also Aaron Pierre is also in Star Wars
That's
Starfighters.
right. Yeah,
So
he is in there.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So um, yeah, look at his filmography while you were talking. In addition to Stranger Things, he also did Night at the Museum, about Free Guy, and
Night at the
and a
Museum
couple
was
other.
great.
Yeah, Cheaper by the Dozen. So I mean, he's he's got a lot of experience, and I liked what he said, as you noted, working on Stranger Things, and he's been with Stranger Things since the get. I mean, he was one of the
Yes.
producers with the show back 2016. So he I agree with you. I had a little bit of issues with some of the sequences in those episodes in season 5 of Stranger Things, but I thought the Max scene could have the running was could have been cut down a little bit, but overall, but overall, I think he's used to big projects at this point, and also and I really did enjoy Deadpool and Wolverine. That's the point. I think most people are probably outside of Stranger Things are probably familiar with him most recently. Um, and stepping into shoes in a big IP project. But you know what I liked about Deadpool and versus Wolverine and his direction there was just how again, yeah, had the yucks, the laughs and stuff when you needed it, but had the heart whenever you needed it as well.
Yes.
So
Yes.
so I think yeah, so I think moving forward as we look at Starfighter and all, I'm cautiously optimistic, and also very, and I'm glad he addressed the fact that we are telling a new story with new characters with this film. Um, so, and that's something that the franchise desperately needs to do because we need to get away from this. As much as I uh, really appreciate the Skywalker saga, it's time to, in order for the next generations to come on and have their own Star Wars, you're going to have to, sadly, you're going to have to like create new adventures for a new era. Unless you just bite the bullet and do like they did before, which is recast and you know which was they did that with Alden Ehrenreich with Han Solo and Donald Glover with Lando. So you can go that route, but um, it may be still a bit too soon for a lot of old heads like me and others to accept. Uh, accept
Yeah,
new characters. I can. I was fine with it. I like Solo, but a lot of folks did.
but I think you bring up some of the stuff that he's done, like Night at the Museum, Free Guy. I think he did the Adam Project. He did
Yeah,
Deadpool and Wolverine. Um, a lot of those movies are really enjoyable to me. They may not
hmm
necessarily be like great movies, although I would say
yeah,
the first Night at the Museum, I think, is probably a pretty great movie. But the other stuff he's worked on have been, pretty good. Really, I
hmm
think he's found his place in Hollywood in regards to being like a really reliable
yeah,
director. In
yeah,
regards to like, if you need a good movie, Shawn Levy will give you a good movie.
yep,
Um, Maybe some people will say, well, you need Star Wars to be great, and maybe so. But I do think his time on Stranger Things certainly might help him get to that point. But what you said about Deadpool and Wolverine, I think is really true. There's some really great heartfelt moments in that movie that I think for me even kind of shocked me. Some of the great dialogue from Hugh Jackman in regards to as
hmm
Wolverine, some of the things he was kind of going through, some of his outbursts towards Deadpool and stuff. So I think that there's things to be mined there that I think now that Sean Levy is being thrusted into this opportunity, that really I'm hoping we get the best out of Sean Levy here.
yeah,
Because I don't know if I've been disappointed with any of his movies, but they've been good and enjoyable
yeah,
films, I think.
yeah, yeah. I think as far as his filmography, I think I've seen just about all of his films, and each one I can't come away saying, "Oh God, I can't wish I got 2 hours of my life back."
Right,
Yeah, I mean
right, right,
yeah,
right.
like you said, he's a solid director, and where are these going to be like best picture nominees? No, but
No,
are you going to be entertained? Yes.
yeah, and that's what you need. That's what you need. There is a little bit more from Sean Levy here because they had the New York Times visited the set of Star Wars Starfighter. I thought there was like a couple things in here I wanted to really highlight that I found interesting. And right off the bat, the first like couple paragraphs of this interview is really incredible here. Um, it starts off talking about Tom Cruise.
Oh yeah.
I was like, why are we talking about Tom Cruise? But check this out. It says Tom Cruise was up to his ankles in mud and pond water. He wore a look of great concentration as he stooped over a digital camera, trying to frame the shot perfectly. Sean Levy glanced around in slight disbelief. Partly it was that he was on set on his very own Star Wars movie, and partly it was the steady stream of A-list visitors. He says last week Steven Spielberg was here. My man's getting
Mhm.
Steven Spielberg to visit his set. He picked his brain. He had to.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And and now Tom Cruise is wielding a camera, ruining his very nice shoes. It says it was a brisk morning in November, and Cruise had dropped by from nearby London, landing his helicopter on set as the crew piped in Mission Impossible theme over the loudspeakers. Cruise just wanted to watch, he told them, but Levy, setting up a scene involving a lightsaber duel in the water, suggested the star jump on one of the cameras. He meant it to be as a joke, but there was Cruise wading into the muddy pond, holding a camera like a pro. And he says, now when you see the movie, you'll know that part of it was shot by Tom. I mean, how cool is that? So Tom Cruise just randomly on a day came through on his helicopter, just like Ethan Hunt, and grabbed the camera and wind up recording or filming a lightsaber duel in the water. That's bananas to me, dude. That is so freaking cool if you ask me.
Yeah. Yeah. What they didn't say is, Tom had to sign a bunch of waivers afterwards so the guild wouldn't like come after him for taking away work. But that's another story for another day.
Yeah, Tom Cruise is just that guy that I feel like
Yeah.
he could just do whatever he wants in Hollywood. Like he just show up and just
Yeah.
do whatever, and people are like, "Hey, cool, Tom, whatever."
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
That just
Yeah.
shows me he's like one of the last big Hollywood stars out there.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's talk about the how flat how awesome that would feel that Tom Cruise or a Steven Spielberg would show up on your set. I mean, that's just the ultimate professional compliment, I think, of respect that these folks may have for you and your work. So, but yeah, it's a great story. If like as I said, there may be some parts that they had to cut for it took some dramatic license there, but editorial license there. But it's an awesome story that we got to see there.
Yeah, I think so too. And for me, the idea alone that we're getting ourselves a lightsaber battle in here, I think is, I don't want to
Yeah,
say fascinating to me, because
yeah,
you probably can tell a Star Wars movie without lightsabers, but sometimes it
exactly.
feels like what is Star Wars without a lightsaber
Oh yeah,
though? At times, it's like an
yeah,
interesting
yeah,
balance. But
yeah. You got
yeah,
to check the
it
lore
does.
box. Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely, right. And so I am kind of curious as to where this goes. From a lights just from a story perspective, how that lightsaber gets there. Is somebody in here a secret Jedi? Is this something that they just found randomly? Is there training going on? I have so many
yeah,
questions in regards to how the lightsaber is on there. But then also talking about the idea that there's a lightsaber battle in water. It seems like maybe there's like a he talks about muddying his shoes and going into the
mm,
pond. I would assume that this is kind of like surface level, like just in the shallow ends of a pond. That there's a fight that maybe takes place. I'm not under the impression it's like underwater or anything. But I for some reason I go back to thinking of I don't know if you saw this Netflix series the Last Samurai or something like that.
yeah,
They have a one of their climactic battles towards the end of the season goes from like this canopy of fireworks,
mm,
um, and then they rush into the shallow end of like some type of pond or lake, and it's such a cool freaking battle. And now I'm just imagining that with lightsabers,
oh yeah,
and I don't know if we've seen anything like that from a Star Wars perspective. Maybe the closest is like Rise of Skywalker, where they're in
yeah,
the middle of the ocean. That was visually that was really
yeah,
appealing. But
yeah,
this fascinates me though.
yeah, yeah. And I love to hear that it's a practical set and it's not a green screen.
Ah, yes, that's a good point. I wonder if it's on. Well, yeah, I guess it would have to be on set. I was like, I wonder if it's on
Yeah,
location,
I
but
mean,
he did say he came to the studio. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I know there'll be some green screen, but it's just awesome just to hear again that they're yeah, and I know this film was shot quite a bit in like in Italy, I believe, and because I know there was like some of those early promotional shots with Ryan Gosling. I think it was in the Mediterranean, if I recall,
Oh
off of
yeah.
some islands. So it's just I can't wait to see some of the visual aspects of the locations that they're going to be filming this film. And again, because it goes back to like the old days with George Lucas filming. Yes, they did work on the sound stages in London, but they were in Tusinia and yeah, I think they filmed some of the scenes at Empire Strikes Back, if I recall, in Norway when they're on Hoth. So yeah, so it is good to see that they are getting out of the sound stage and or out of the green screen and doing actual location shoots.
There's one last part in this interview before we move on that I'm interested in. Um, it does mention here. He says that he was actually Levy was close with his father, but he hadn't always been. He explained his dad left when he was 3. He was raised by his mother, who suffered from depression and alcoholism. And at 13, roughly the age of so many of his protagonists, Levi and his sister fled their mother's home and reunited with their dad. An act of courage that Levy credits with saving his life, but that also became the theme, though he didn't know it, of so many of his films. And I do feel like that's a recurring theme for Levy, like the young kid who runs away from
Mm,
home or is separated, sort of thing, and has that needs that father figure sort of mentality. He says I've never ever connected it before. He says, I'm a little embarrassed because you're going to have to mention that I got emotional. But I could never figure out why I kept coming back to those stories of a 13-year-old boy being saved by a man. There was something defining about that moment for me. And with Star Wars, I'm doing so again. says the plot of Starfighter remains under wraps, but it's set 5 years after the events of The Rise of Skywalker, built around yet another father-son dynamic. So yeah, there's Levy in real time, kind of putting two and two together here of why he falls back on that theme. And as somebody for myself who is a new father to a 4-year-old, I should say, those type of themes just get me every single time, man. So
Yeah, yeah,
I'm kind of looking forward to seeing how he builds upon this story with more experience under his belt now.
yeah. Indeed, indeed.
But yeah, guys, let's know some of your thoughts in regards to Shawn Levy and Star Wars Starfighter. And with that out of the way, let's move on to our next topic. Will, we're going to get into from Star Wars, we're going to move over to the world of DC. We're going to jump onto this Elseworld story as the Batman is back in the news here this week. We've been slowly, ever since the Batman Part 2 has been greenlit, we knew that the script had come in. James Gunn, Matt Reeves, extremely excited for this next iteration of Batman. We've been hit with a couple of great casting announcements. A couple of weeks back, we had Scarlett Johansson apparently in talks. The speculation was rampant in regards to who Scarlett Johansson could potentially be playing. And this week, they hit us with another great casting choice, Stuart. Will, as Sebastian Stan this time has been name dropped for joining the Batman. Apparently, he is currently in talks. Phenomenal actor, but he joins the cast of the Batman Part 2. Let's go ahead and get into this article here. I believe this article comes to us from Deadline, but we may have some supporting evidence here from the Hollywood Reporter. But according to Deadline, it says the Batman Part 2, Sebastian Stan in talks for a role opposite Robert Pattinson in the sequel. This is exclusive. After landing Scarlett Johansson for a new role in the Batman, director Matt Reeves looks to have snagged one of her Avenger co-stars for another new role in the upcoming sequel. Sources tell Deadline Sebastian Stan is in talks to join the highly anticipated DC Studio sequel in a role which is currently unknown. If a deal closes, he would join Robert Pattinson, who's set to reprise his role. DC Studios did not respond for a request for comment. The DC Studios pick is set to start production in spring and will open in theaters October 1st, 2027. Um, so yes, it does also give some of his other credentials. He was apparently nominated for Best Actor for his recent role as Donald Trump in The Apprentice.
Yep, yep.
He's a phenomenal actor.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of Sebastian Stan. I do want to add a caveat here. There has been speculation as to who he could potentially be, and there is reports from this recent Hollywood Reporter newsletter that to them it's just one line in this newsletter, but it's seemingly for them have confirmed. Who knows? But it says meet Harvey Dent.
mhm,
It says it says meet Harvey Dent, Sebastian Stan joining the Batman Part 2. So I am kind of curious if this is them confirming it or if this is pure speculation on their own. But
yeah,
they are in fact saying that they believe that Sebastian Stan's going to be playing Harvey Dent. I don't know if you put any merit towards that or not, Will, but how do you
yeah,
feel about this casting choice here?
yeah. So I've heard of Harvey Dent. Actually, there's a writer for Forbes magazine who's their entertainment reporter. Also suggested that it was going to be Harvey Dent, and also went further and gave some noted that this also could give some light on who Scarlett Johansson is playing
Johansson
in the
might
role,
be.
because I don't think her character has been yeah, and so because I think if I recall when Scarlett Johansson was tied to this project, and again, folks, just given that these are showing up in the trades, the official, these aren't like usually if it's showing up in like your Hollywood Reporters, Forbes, uh, uh, magazine deadlines, etc. It's pretty much you can pretty much guarantee it's going to happen unless something really funky happens. So these, so you could, so with respect to Johansson, uh, this article in Forbes noted that that Matt Reeves said that her character is someone who hasn't shown up on screen before. So we could already, so we know it's not going to be like a Catwoman or anybody else. I mean, Zoe Kravitz was going to be, I guess it was the Catwoman if I recall, and Batman. It's been a while since I watched the Batman with Pattinson, but the yeah, the idea here is that it could possibly be Harvey Dent's wife.
Oh, uh-huh. Was
And
it
this,
Gilda or something like that?
yeah, Gilda, yeah, and yeah, because apparently it's influenced by. Let me just pull up the article here. I had it whenever I was getting ready for today. Um, one idea because she could be playing the villain, but then another theory is that she'll play Andrea Beaumont, who is also
That the massive
who
phantasm?
is from Phantasm, yeah, as another potential rumor. But then it's also Gilda Dent, who she'll become Holiday.
Ah,
So
yes.
from the Long Halloween.
The Long Halloween. Dude, that would be dope. That would be dope.
Yeah, yeah,
I'd be 100% down with that because it would make sense then to get two big names to carry those two big roles like that.
yeah.
Um yeah, I was just looking something up here from comicbookmovie.com where Jeff Snyder says something that Miss Dent would have a bigger role perhaps than Harvey Dent. If Reeves is planning to loosely adapt the Long Halloween, then it would make sense to focus on Gilda as she attempts to lighten her husband's caseload by killing Gotham City's mobsters. That just feels like a Matt Reeves kind of
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
tale to me,
Cause
you
yeah,
know?
cause I mean, yeah, cause I knew Batman itself wasn't a 1-to-1, but we did get sort of a hint of the Court of Owls in the Batman.
Which I'm
So
still hoping for. I'm hoping that
yeah,
there are still elements of that overall theme maybe playing a part,
yeah. So
leading to maybe
yeah,
a third
yeah,
film.
yeah. So we've seen, and even with the Penguin, with Sophia Falcone. I mean, we have seen in the Reeves verse of Batman. They, he takes inspiration from stories in the comics, and not necessarily do 1-to-1 adaptations in live action. But I, yeah, I mean, I think the smoke. There's enough smoke around here now that it very well indeed could be, you know, him playing Harvey Dent, and Sebastian Stan as Harvey Dent. To me that's just it would be excellent casting as far as him playing that particular character. Uh, I mean, I know Aaron Eckhart. Was it Aaron Eckhart that played him in the Dark Knight?
Yeah, yeah, he was
Yeah,
great in that role too.
he was great in that role as back. So, but Sebastian Stan is Harvey Dent Two Face, and that's the thing. I mean, will he be will he be pre Two Face? Because again, there's really no time jump in it with the Batman and Penguin for the Batman 2. So we're still early in Bruce's journey as Batman in this Elseworld.
That's true. Yeah, I that is a good point. I do wonder if this will focus on more of Harvey Dent just before he winds up turning into Two Face. I mean, who knows? Maybe the movie itself ends with him having some sort of horrific accident,
Mm-hmm.
maybe by the hands of his wife, or who knows? I really have no idea. This
Yeah,
definitely makes me want to pick up the Long Halloween and check this one out for myself. Just to kind of see how something like that could possibly unfold. The idea of him being Harvey Dent and eventually going on to play Two Face, I think would be brilliant. Just because I literally just saw him in this movie on HBO Max called A Different Man. I don't know
mm-hmm.
if you've seen him in it, but he
Yeah.
plays a man with that has like a disease where his face is really like disfigured. He plays a character by the name of Edward, an actor with neurofibromatosis.
Yeah.
um and his face is already kind of deformed, and he goes from this having this deformed face and like performing under all this makeup to, but I won't tell you, but eventually his facial features change throughout the movie. But to kind of see him kind of play that role already under like heavy prosthetics and stuff, and just personality change from one thing to the next. I think he's the more and more I've seen him, because I think I was introduced to Sebastian Stan through the MCU. And
Same.
after that, it's kind of opened me up to seeing some of his other work outside of that. And every time I see him in a role outside of the MCU, I'm like, man, this guy he's really talented. He's really talented. So
Yeah.
I think this is great. I think he can be a great Harvey Dent in here. And then if he eventually does become Two Face, maybe not necessarily in this movie, but if they carry his character on, maybe he could. I think he'll nail that role also. And this does bring me up to the idea too of like, what I have loved about the Reeves verse is that it did give us the Penguin spinoff show that took
Yeah.
place right afterwards. There is continued talk of whether or not we're going to get ourselves a Penguin season two. I feel like that's certainly a possibility. It may be further away than some people would like to admit, because they got to really rely on Matt Reeves and putting this movie together first before anything. But there is something that I hope that we get ourselves sort of another spinoff after part two.
Yeah.
And I would completely be open to the idea of give me a Two-Face spin-off series out of this, or a Harvey Dent series out of this, even if it's just a limited series. I think it would be kind of cool to have a leading man like Sebastian Stan, kind of like you have with Colin Farrell, who's just a
Yeah.
really really great actor. We don't really see him in limited series or television roles very often, and so I think that would be kind of cool, to kind of see roll out of something like the Batman Part Two, but we'll
Yeah.
see.
Yeah. Agreed. Agreed. Yeah.
But yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts on Sebastian Stan in talks. A lot of people are dropping Harvey Dent's name, but how do you guys feel about him being a part of this franchise? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section box below. We will stick into the world of DC here, but instead of Elseworlds, let's talk a little bit more some DCU, as the Man of Tomorrow is back in the news. And boy, as they get ready for pre-production right now and start prepping things for production, I believe in the springtime for their
Yep.
2027 release date, speculation and rumors are rampant in regards to what this movie is going to be about, along with who's going to pop up in here. But one rumor continues, Will, to follow this movie, and that is Wonder Woman. Ever since there was a casting call sheet a few months back about them trying to find a female lead for this movie, or at least a female role, people had sort of attached that concept to Wonder Woman. And it doesn't seem as though it's going away, Will.
Yeah.
We wind up getting this article this week. This one actually comes to us from comicbookmovie.com, that highlights this rumor even further. It says, Man of Tomorrow rumored to feature, spoiler reference here, but Wonder Woman will appear. It says, over the past couple of weeks, several different scoopers have sent speculation into overdrive by sharing Man of Tomorrow casting details for a character that sounds a lot like Wonder Woman. And it seems James Gunn really is in the process of searching for an actress to play a new take on the iconic Amazonian warrior for his Superman follow up. Um, During the week's episode of the Hot Mic, Jeff Schneider backed up co-host John Roca's recent claim that the DC's new Wonder Woman will indeed be introduced in Man of Tomorrow, and that Gunn met with an undisclosed number of actresses before the new year. According to the most recent breakdown, it says Gunn is looking at very young, hot, as in upcoming actresses, for the new female lead in Man of Tomorrow. And whoever ends up landing a role will need to be tall, thank God, in her 20s and have fighting skills. There's also a solo Wonder Woman movie in development. But it seems Gunn is planning on taking a page out of Batman versus Superman by allowing audiences to get familiar with the character in a team up setting first. There is more information here that we'll dive into, but I want to highlight really the Wonder Woman piece of it all first, um, in regards to her having a significant role in here. Look, I did I will say this after the first initial kind of casting sheet that kind of came out. I personally didn't see how people saw Wonder Woman esque hints in regards to that, but maybe there was something to it that maybe I personally was missing, and so now that more and more people are continuing to get on board this ship, I feel like it's certainly worth talking about. I will say, Will, the the article itself brings up the comparison to Zack Snyder's thing, and at this point, I'm just like stop giving these people fodder, James Gunn. People already got on his ass for Superman and Man of Steel and things like that, and now it's like the second movie that you decide to do is a team up of sorts. And if Wonder Woman pops up in there, I just know the Snyder cultists are just going to be like, you might have just have gotten Snyder to do this movie. He's just doing everything Snyder's doing. Like
Yeah,
I hear it already. Like I just hear it already. Um, but it is interesting to kind of see the implementation or like how he will introduce somebody like Wonder Woman. I guess when you already have a team up film between Superman and Lex Luthor and they're going against a threat like Brainiac, I'm sure you need all the help that you can kind of get. So I am kind of curious as to how Wonder Woman would even fit into this story. I believe somebody that usually watches this page, Marcelino, before has mentioned the idea that he's kind of hoping that it's not true because he doesn't want to feel like this movie is bogged down with too many
yeah,
characters. Similar to how he personally felt about Superman in regards to like while he liked the character, sometimes he thought maybe they took away from other characters. And so I think that's
yeah,
fair. I think that's fair to certainly say. So, but I am at this point like, yeah, I kind of want to see Wonder Woman. I kind of want to see this Trinity at some point in time. And I think what makes me believe this a little bit more is because we have heard that the Wonder Woman movie has kind of taken more of a forefront now in regards to being put into production. That there's a lot of production going on this behind the scenes, not only in regards to the Paradise Lost television series, which is very much sort of like a prequel, but also their focus and attention towards Wonder Woman has hit a sort of a fever pitch. So the fact that they're really working on those behind the scenes, it kind of makes sense to me that this would kind of be a layup in regards to introducing us to Wonder Woman. The capacity, I'll be interested to find out, but I am starting to think more and more that this is in fact true. Will.
yeah, yeah. So is James gonna wait in on threads yet?
I don't know if he has or not. I feel like he's been eerily quiet about this one.
Yeah, yeah. Because usually he will
He'll shoot it down really quickly.
he'll sh- yeah, yeah. I'm sort of like Marciano. I first and, and what you were saying too. I was thinking about if they went the Batman v Superman route. I'm hopeful that Wonder Woman is a character where she can stand on her own. She doesn't
Yeah.
need to be like pulled into some movie like this team up. I mean, clearly Batman probably may or may not show up in this and may be referenced in this. I mean, we definitely know that at least in the DC universe that Gunn has created now, characters, superheroes are around, so that's established. So we don't have to have a origin story, uh, uh, you know, for these characters in many respects. At least with the well-known characters, I should say. Um, but yeah, I this one is kind of like I I'm hopeful that we could just really focus on the Clark and Lex team up of it all,
Yeah,
and not weigh it down with too many extra characters who,
yeah.
yeah,
I mean, I would be open, like, um, maybe not necessarily so much her as a big role in the movie. If it's like meeting Diana in regards to like whatever her day job might be. I don't know. Maybe she's like a museum curator or something, right? Like maybe, maybe it's Clark having to get some information about Brainiac or any hints of somebody like him being mentioned in history or whatever the case may be. And maybe we're introduced to her sort of alter ego instead of necessarily just Wonder Woman. I would be okay with that, especially if it fits into the themes of the movie. In regards to like if he maybe we don't get the opportunity to like maybe he knows who she is, but we don't necessarily see her kind of on screen as Wonder Woman. Um, but I don't know. I mean, look, I want to see these characters at some point in time. I think the idea of a team up movie between Lex and Superman is great, but that's where I really want the focus to be. And if Wonder Woman's in this movie, I just don't want it to take away um,
yeah,
too much of her time, too much of their time.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Agree.
the article also does go on to say, um, could we also see the Dark Knight make his debut in Man of Tomorrow? Snyder has heard that Batman will not appear in the movie, but will be referenced. Talking about what you mentioned earlier, Will. This would mark the first live action nod to the Cape Crusader, but Gotham's protector did briefly appear in the Shadows and Creature Commando series. And then Snyder also heard that the Teen Titans movie, which Nagara was also writing, has hit a snag. We don't have any more to go on just yet, but don't be surprised if this project is pushed way down the slate in the coming weeks. I don't necessarily know if I want to look. I don't know what Snyder knows or anything like that. In regards to him saying hit a snag, but some of the early reports that I had heard was that they have decided to hold off on Teen Titans because they wanted to focus and transition over to Wonder Woman. And the thing is that Anna Noguera is working on both Titans and Wonder Woman as well, and so she really has kind of like a plate full. So I've heard it was more the idea of a focus on Wonder Woman being pushed to the forefront, and them holding off on uh on Teen Titans. Hit a snag to me is just like creatively we're just not there yet, or we're having problems. Like it just feels more of a negative connotation, whereas I've heard it's just kind of putting it on hold to focus on other things at the moment.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we'll see. But yeah, I definitely don't think Batman's gonna pop up in this. I think if anybody has the chance, it's certainly Wonder Woman, but we'll see what the impact is here. Do you think we'll see me and Stuart talked about this, and I kind of want to get your opinion on it, Will. Uh,
Yeah.
do you two questions. Do you think Batman has already secretly been cast? And secondly, somebody had asked us before, like, who who do you think will pop up first? Batman and Clayface or Wonder Woman and Man of Tomorrow? Um, it feels more and more likely like Wonder Woman now, but I'm curious if you think Batman will have any presence or cameo in Clayface.
I think I think Batman will there'll be a reference just to like ground the character in this larger universe. But I don't think there's no one's been cast yet. I think they are, given that we have the Reeves Elseworlds first going right now. Uh, we have our Batman currently is Pattinson, and I think they're going to let that go for a while. But I do think we'll probably get a reference to Batman and Clayface.
Yeah, I mean, you might be right in that regards, and I say that because, well, I personally said I would love to see a cameo in Batman of Batman and Clayface. I think we might get one, but I might be just that would just might be my fan hopes and that and hopes for something to happen. But especially if there hasn't been necessarily a script fully made yet, maybe you have some people in mind, but it feels a little bit weird to me to have somebody cast without a script in mind
Yeah,
to fully
yeah,
understand who you want this
yeah.
character to be yet.
I think we'll just see the Dark Knight in the Shadows. They'll be, because that way it can just be a body double. I mean, it doesn't have to be like, you know, name actor here. It's just we'll see the Batman, and it'll be referenced somehow. But I think that was because I think that was even done in maybe the first season of Titans. That was on the old DC streaming platform before we saw him in season two. Um,
Yeah,
it's
maybe I can't
it's
remember
been
how it
it's
was.
been so long because that's been like almost, gosh, that was 6, 7, 8 years ago. But
I just remember F Batman.
yeah,
That
yeah,
was
yeah.
F
Well,
Batman.
there's
Oh,
there's a reference.
yeah, they,
But
yeah, yeah.
but yeah, I think that'll probably be it. It'll just be like we'll just see the Dark Knight in the Shadows, and
What did you think about that?
we'll lose all our collector shit over it. But
Yeah,
that's
we
about it.
will. Speaking of Titans, what did you think about their Bruce Wayne? I when I used to review the show, I always thought it was an interesting choice for Bruce Wayne.
Same,
And
same.
the one thing I always said was he reminds me of that world's version of Adam West's Batman. Like if
Yeah,
Adam West's Batman got any older,
yep.
I feel like that's the Batman that we would have.
That was my thought as well. I mean, I can't remember. I think the actor was he may have been in Game of Thrones or something like that. But I, yeah, I thought for the story that they were telling, at given that at that point Bruce, Dick is growing up to be Nightwing and stuff, it worked. Um, from what I remember,
It was
I
hard for
think
me to imagine him
yeah,
in the suit,
yeah,
like being capable of kicking anybody's ass.
yeah,
but
yeah, yeah,
from an Adam West perspective, I'm like he fits that Bruce to me. I
yeah,
feel like that he feels like he's more canon to the 1960s Batman universe than anything.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um, and Marcelino does back up. Yes, they did use a silhouette of Batman in the finale where Dick Grayson is living a nightmare. I do remember that now.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts. Man of Tomorrow rumors, more Wonder Woman speculation. As Snyder and a couple of people are continuing to say that, yeah, she will pop up in this movie. What capacity would you like to see her? How do you feel about it? Let us know your thoughts in the comments.
Right.
All right. All right. And with that out of the way, we got two more topics we're going to try and get through here real quick for you guys. What's the next one? I know you said you didn't know too much about this topic. I'm gonna get this one out of the way real quick. And to
Yeah.
be honest with you, Will, I don't believe this is a Disney movie that I myself have checked out. But I gotta say, I find myself getting a little bit more interested in kind of visiting it.
Yeah.
As the live action adaptation of Tangled is in the news. For those of you who don't recall, I know some people are probably rolling their eyes like live action Disney, more. Yes, more is happening.
Yeah.
They continue to make money at the box office, and so Disney continues to knock them out. There was a time period where Disney did decide to put a hold on doing live action movies and working on them behind the scenes because I think the past couple of live actions for them hadn't necessarily done so well. I think the Snow White debacle certainly
Mm.
grabbed their attention, and maybe something
Oh yeah.
else prior to that also. And so they did pump the brakes a little bit in regards to going forward with any live action adaptions. I think they were working on Tangle at the time, and they decided to hit pause. And then I believe Lilo and Stitch came out,
Mm.
and they might have had another live action movie that came out also that just knocked it out of the park for them. And they saw the money they made, and he said, you know what, full steam ahead on Tangled, and that's exactly what's happening right now. Tangled. is in fact one of the next live action adaptations that they're going to be tackling. And the reason why it's in the news this week, Will, is because we've got some casting announcements.
Yep.
Um, let's go ahead and bring this up. We got two sets of casting announcements I found kind of interesting. I'm not too familiar with either of these characters, maybe either of these actors. Maybe some people that have seen them before certainly will and can give their thoughts in the comments. But Tangled live action movie finds its leads Tegan Croft and Milo Manheim. This is an exclusive report from the Hollywood Reporter. It says the studio has chosen rising Australian actress Tegan Croft and Milo Manheim, star of Disney Channel's musical Zombies franchise, for respective parts of Rapunzel, the curious and plucky would-be princess with magical hair, and Flynn Rider, the cocky outlaw thief who helps her escape her tower prison. Michael Gracie, who counts the musical biopics Better Man and The Greatest Showman among his credits, is directing the feature, which, like the original, will have big musical elements. Kristen Burr, whose longstanding ties to the studio and producers of Freakier Friday, along with Cruella, is also producing. The decision comes up after Disney set up lanterns into the sky in the US to find the feature project's leads, with finalist screen testing in London in December before the winter holidays. Now Croft and Manheim step under the locks previously worn by Mandy Moore and Zachary Levi, who respectively voiced the parts in the original movie, now regarded as a modern classic and part of Disney Animation's Renaissance, I should say.
Hmm.
So while I personally have not had the opportunity to watch the movie, I have always heard really great things about Tangled. And so some people that have seen Tangled, I think, are kind of hyped for this idea of it being part of live action. But I think, if anything, that really stands out to me is I do appreciate the fact that, well, to me, they're kind of no names, but I do appreciate the fact that they had a pretty big casting pool to choose from here, in regards to it's not necessarily like somebody that they had in mind that they wanted to kind of put into these roles, but they really went out to kind of see who would be sort of best for this role. So again, while I haven't necessarily watched Tangled, I've heard great things about it, and I think what does jump out to me though the most is probably the director, because while I haven't seen A Better Man, I have seen The Greatest Showman, and it is a great musical.
Hmm.
And so, if anybody knows how to do musicals, it is definitely Michael Gracie. So I am kind of curious to see how he's going to do with this role. But yeah, we just have some big casting announcements here. Will.
Yeah, yeah. Tegan Croft. Given that we were just talking about Titans, she was a Raven in Titans.
Oh crap! She what? Yeah,
Yep.
Marcelo just said that. Have you seen Tigger? Wow, yeah, I did like her. Wow, I didn't know that was her. Man, she almost
Yeah,
looks
yeah.
so
So
different from in this
yeah,
picture. Like I can't even.
yeah.
That's
When,
crazy.
yeah, when you sent me the story for topics today, I was like, oh yeah, I remember her from Titans. Yeah,
Oh snap!
yeah, yeah. Even though they didn't mention it in the THR
Yeah,
article,
why
but
didn't they
yeah,
mention it? Oh,
yeah, yeah,
shame,
yeah, yeah.
shame.
And I saw one of our folks in the chat also saw that, put the connection together.
Yeah,
But
Marcelino, have
yeah,
you seen You've seen Tegan Croft, Adam playing
yeah,
Raven from
yeah, yeah,
Titans. That's dope. Okay, Tegan, I see you.
yeah. Uh, um, but yeah, as far as my getting to the Disney of it all, this is definitely a blind spot for me on Disney. So I really don't have much to add to the conversation here about it. It missed me on this one.
No, you're good, man. You're good. And that's not all in regards to casting. Um, Somebody that just knocked us out of the park on the screen recently for Agatha All Along, um, Catherine Hahn has in fact been cast and is currently in talks to play the villain Mother Gothel. She's currently in the negotiations. Um, she's going to the dark side once more. The actress is in talks to play Mother Gothel, the magical would be stepmother in Tangled. The move comes after they just announced Tegan Croft and Milo Manheim. I don't know, when I look at Mother Gothel in here, I'm just like, this feels like perfect casting to me. And
Yeah,
anything in regards to Catherine Hahn playing like a witch or anybody with the magic, I'm like, yeah, you've nailed it. Especially if you need like some levels of humor and over the
yeah.
top performances and stuff, right? I feel like this is like right in her wheelhouse.
Oh, totally, totally. Yeah, like I said, I haven't not familiar with the character, but Catherine Hahn, no matter what she's in, she always gives you great work. I mean, if folks want to see her in something where she's not playing a witch, watch The Studio on Apple TV Plus.
Ooh, oh, she's in
She,
there. I didn't know she was in the
sh
studio.
yes, yes, with yes, her character is plays a publicist for the studio in that show, and she is just amazing in it. So that's my if you non Catherine Hahn playing something other than a witch, go check her out. Go check her out in the studio.
I love it. I love it. I'll definitely have to do that. Stuart was watching the studio, and he's a big fan of it. Also, I've heard
Yeah,
good things about it. I have not had
yeah,
the chance to check it out though.
great show. Especially, you will appreciate it given that you are all about the simple fact that you had this podcast that we're doing today. The studio is your show.
Nice, nice. I'm definitely gonna check it out. Marcelino in the comments says the live action remakes are the fault of the audience, and they refuse to take accountability for their actions.
That's perfect.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
I've never heard it put that way, but that's so great, Marcelino. Yeah, no, for sure. Like I know a lot of us we are very much big believers in please give us more kind of originality for sure. I think you and I will, and some other people I follow. I think we do put our money where our mouth is and tries to see as much original content as we can when it's
Yeah.
available to us, type of thing.
Yeah.
But there's just no denying that we do live in the world where reboots and sequels and stuff are just money makers, and
Yeah.
it's hard to get the casual audience members to like, or casual audience members to not support those things, because I just think it's something that we're very familiar with, and regardless of what people say, we go back to those things because we do enjoy them,
Yeah.
and they continue to make big money. And the things that aren't good, the audience will let them know
Oh
financially.
yeah.
Like
Oh
there's,
yeah.
they will not go and see those
Yep.
things.
For real.
But that doesn't. But these studios will always try and hit those notes because they do know, like, hey, our chances of making our money back are grand.
Yep.
And it's usually those bigger movies that lead to those smaller original movies being made.
Hmm.
It allows those studios to have that type of extra money to then put towards smaller original
Yeah.
movies. So it's kind of like just a chain and a process in Hollywood at the same time, right? Like
Yeah.
if a studio needs to make a ton of money in order to do other projects, boom, let's put out a remake or a sequel that we know is going to make money, and then we can recycle that into smaller films.
Agreed. Agreed. Yep.
But let us know your guys' thoughts in regards to Tangled. How excited are you for a live action, and what do you think about the casting in general? Let us know your thoughts. But yeah, shout out to Tegan Croft, man, for
Yeah.
coming through with a big snag like that. It says rising Australian star. I didn't know Raven was like her first role or what she's been up to since Raven, but
Yeah.
that's dope. That's dope.
I've seen her. Yeah. I've seen her name mentioned a couple of things, but I
Yeah.
can't really. Don't recall. Yeah. But it's been a minute. Yeah, it's cool to see all the folks from that show, from Titans to and other places. Obviously, the big ones. Of course, Alan Richardson,
Oh
as well.
yeah, we need more from Brenton Thwaites, man. We need more from
Yeah. Yeah.
Brenton Thwaites.
I saw where he was. I saw where he was recently cast in something. He
He's
seems
in
like
that
very good.
zombie. I think he's in that zombie movie with Daisy Ridley. We
Okay,
Bury
maybe
the
that's it.
Dead.
Okay.
I, I think
Okay.
that's where I heard he was in. But
Okay.
yeah, we need more Brenton in Hollywood, man.
For sure. For sure.
All right, guys. With that out of the way, one last topic here that we're gonna dive into. You say K-pop Demon Hunters. You say Tim Burton. I'm usually here. for it, honestly. And we have a very interesting collaboration that's about to go down. The classic Attack of the 50-Foot Woman is in the news here this week because it seems as though not only is Tim Burton set to direct this, but the writers of the hotly renowned and critically acclaimed animated film K-pop Demon Hunters has gotten another big break here and is teaming up with Tim Burton to bring Attack of the 50-Foot Woman to the big screen. Let me go ahead and bring this up for you guys here. This is coming to us from the Hollywood Reporter. K-pop Demon Hunters writers team with Tim Burton for Attack of the 50-Foot Woman. This is an exclusive. Um, it says Danya Jimenez and Hannah McMeechan, the golden screenwriter duo behind the animated hit K-pop Demon Hunter, have landed a giant gig, like 50-foot giant. The team has been tapped by Warner Brothers to pen the screenplay of Tim Burton's reimagining of the B-movie classic Attack of the 50-Foot Woman. Burton, who is attached to direct, is also producing. It says the film was released back in 1958. Attack told of a wealthy Harris, fresh from a stint at a mental institute, who is turned into a giantess and then deals with her philandering husband and his no good money grubbing floozy. Warner's has now developed or has not has been developing the remake since 2024. Gone Girl scribe Gillian Flynn was the previous writer. It says the duo did have a comment. They said that we're obsessed with the idea of a 50-foot woman wrecking havoc because a man did her dirty. We have a feeling that a lot of people will relate. As much as the spotlight has been on the voice stars and singers of K-pop Demon Hunter, the writers have also been enjoying the soda pop of the moment. The duo were just 24 years old when they co-wrote the movie, but skyrocketed into the zeitgeist last year by streaming on Netflix. So yeah, this is a huge. I mean, to be 24 years old, to knock it out of the park with K-pop Demon Hunter, and now to be teaming up with Warner Brothers and freaking Tim Burton, man. I mean, what an opportunity for both these ladies here. And they seem they seem excited. They seem really eager to go ahead and tackle this. Will, have you seen the original Attack of the 50-Foot Woman? Yay or
Years
nay? So you have
years
seen it
ago,
before?
years ago, yeah.
I have not watched it. It is a classic, but I have not. Well, I guess B movie classic, but I have not necessarily watched it. It's not like it's definitely a zeitgeist film in the sense of like I've heard of it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
got a footprint.
yeah. It's like Rocky
So
Horror Picture. Yeah.
yeah. What do you think about this though? What are your thoughts on them teaming up with Tim Burton and just the idea of Tim Burton doing this movie?
Well, again, bringing a classic uh, movie that was made back in the late 50s to modern audiences with a fresh story. Tim Burton, it's hard. Tim Burton's been around for so long. I mean, when I think about all the films that he's done, and interesting note, he actually wasn't the director for Nightmare Before Christmas. I think he was a producer on that. There was actually another director. Just want to
Ah, okay.
put that out there. Saw that recently. Actually, he wrongfully gets credited for directing that film, but he actually produced it. But there was actually another director. But of course we know it from Batman and so many other things as well. Batman '89. But yeah, it K-pop Demon Hunter. I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed that movie. I still have a couple songs from it, on my playlist on Spotify. I will freely admit, and still listen to them when I work out and stuff. But yeah, these young ladies definitely had a very solid story. K-pop Demon Hunters, for is a global hit for so many reasons, and one of the points is that it was a very very well put together story, and if it ain't on the page, it's not on the stage or on the film, and as far as the screen. And so I'm excited for them to do this.
Yeah, I'm really kind of excited for this. It is one of those things where Well, I haven't seen the original movie for Attack of the 50-Foot Woman. I For some reason I can easily see Tim Burton's style of directing working really well with this, especially considering it was like a B classic sort of film. I just think his aesthetic and his eye for directing and just like how he brings his worlds and his vision to life is just they're like, there are directors that just have a particular style about them that like when you see the movie, you're like, oh, that's a Sam Raimi movie, or oh, that's a Tim Burton movie. Like that's Tim Burton. And so
Yeah,
to kind of bring his flair towards something like that, I think really works. And just the way I think Tim Burton's mind works from a visionary and storytelling perspective, to kind of have this duo of K-pop demon hunters and what they can do with a script, combine that with Tim Burton's mind and vision. Like I don't know why, but like I could just really see this being a really great duo together, and bringing this movie to life. So, had you told me before, hey Adam, would you like to see an Attack of the 50-Foot Woman remake? I'd be like, I don't really care. But you tell me the duo and the team behind it now, and I'm even that much more interested. The fact that it was made in the 50s, I think it's okay for movies to certainly be rebooted or revised after maybe 20, 25 years or something like that. This might be long overdue, and I think having um, the team behind it that they do, this certainly warrants a remake. So I'm
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
I'm all for this one. I'm ready for this one.
yeah. It's yeah, it's sort of like the Toxic Avenger, you know.
Yeah, have you seen it? Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it, but yeah, but to your point about things after a while, it's okay to like to modernize it for what it is. I mean, hell, Friday the 13th. I mean, there's any number of things. So
Yeah,
why
yeah.
not attack? Why not attack at a 50-foot woman?
Yeah, why not? I haven't seen the Toxic Avenger yet either, but Stuart last week said he saw it and he loved it. He said he was a really
Yeah,
big fan of it.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, I might have to check that one out. But yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts. Tim Burton, K-pop Demon Hunter writer duos, taking on Attack of the 50-Foot Woman. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section box below. But yeah, let us know your thoughts, guys. But all right, awesome. I think that will do it for all of our main topics today. But Will, hey man, first off, thank you again so much
yeah,
for joining me here and doing
yeah,
co-host duties. I appreciate it.
yeah.
Let
Thank
people
you. It's a lot of
know,
fun.
yeah, absolutely, man. Let people know where they can find you on social media and your own podcast so they can follow you.
Yeah. So as far as my podcast, so you see here, my we got the screen here. Myself and my host Sarah Belmont. We host the Scene and Nerd podcast. You can see here on the screen here our website www.sceneandnerdpodcast.com. We're a weekly podcast. Cover a lot of things in the genre, and sometimes talk about little news items as well. But if you missed us at the beginning, we just finished Stranger Things, and we are going to be starting Fallout this week, talking the first 4 episodes from season 2, and then the rest of January we will be covering A Night of the Seven Kingdoms and also Wonder Man. We've got Paradise season 2 coming up as well, so you can definitely find us on all the major podcast platforms, as far as YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, and also on the social media as well, as far as X, Twitter, Blue Sky, and also Facebook page. And also we have Instagram and Threads, and our handles there on Instagram and Threads are at scene_n_nerd, and then we're at scene and nerd on all the other platforms. So thank you so much for having me, Adam. I really, really enjoyed spending the afternoon with you, and gotta go walk the dog now. But it's a lot of fun. But yeah, I love thanks for the invite. We'll definitely have you on our show again. I know we did a live together. I think with Comic Con last year.
Yeah,
With
yeah, yeah,
yeah, we talked I guess the what was it, Peacemaker panel. Yeah. So
yeah.
yeah,
Let me yeah, definitely let me know. I want two questions for you. The
yeah,
Scene
yeah,
and Nerd logo behind you, if I
yeah.
put 3D glasses on, will I see that in 3D?
That's a very good question. I don't know if an artist did that on purpose or not. I have to. You should check. You should do that. And let me know.
I was just looking at it and I'm like, man,
Yeah.
I want to put on some 3D glasses and see if that really
Yeah,
pops. I think
yeah.
that's dope.
I never. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'll let my artist know that. I think that she may have had that she may have had that idea in mind.
And then one last question.
Yeah,
A Star Trek, Starfleet
yeah,
Academy
yeah,
releases. We were just talking about the Night of the Seven Kingdoms, but
yeah,
we also have Star Trek, Starfleet Academy. Are you going to be highlighting that
yeah,
on the channel or on the
yeah.
YouTube
Thanks.
page or anything?
Yeah, I will be. Yeah, so I do a Star Trek fans. I do a try to do weekly show called Last Week in Star Trek. I have my own standalone Star Trek show called Seen a Nerd Presents Blurred Trek, and been doing some reviews, but also trying to ca- carve out a different space and just try to do a little bit what you do here, which is try to catch up on the latest news in the Star Trek universe. So I did just drop a video yesterday with just talking about some of the early reviews from Starfleet Academy, which seemed to be overall positive. It has, at least as of yesterday, it was 84%
Nice.
tomato score. But I also try to cover some other things that are happening out there as well. So yeah, we'll be covering Starfleet Academy, and yeah, appreciate you bringing that up, and yeah, just
Yeah,
subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's a YouTube exclusive.
I'm kind of in my Star Trek bag right now. I've been looking forward to Starfleet Academy, so I think that's something I'm going to try and keep up with weekly. But I've been trying to do some Star Trek canonically right now, and
Yeah.
so I'm heavily into the first season of Enterprise.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
think I'm like episode 18 or 19 right now.
Okay. Very underrated show. Very underrated show.
I'm coming to appreciate it. I mean, just
Yeah.
season one, first couple episodes in, I'm kind of surprised as to like how I'm coming along with these characters. There is a charm about it
Yeah.
in regards to it being like the first Enterprise, so close
Yeah.
to us still
Yeah.
being humans and holding on to that
Yeah.
grasp of humanity on Earth and stuff, that I like the way that they respond to things, and I don't know, it's just there's something really charmful about that works for this show. I'm learning.
Yeah. 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 Well, you're doing it chronologically, so yeah. So I look forward to hearing what your thoughts are with the balance
Yeah, I'll let
of
you know.
Enterprise, and yeah, then next in line is yeah, Discovery. Actually, yeah,
Discovery first two
yeah,
seasons. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But I'll keep you posted for sure. I feel like I think I got like 5 seasons of Enterprise, and they're long ass seasons. They're like
Cool.
26 episode. Like god dang.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was yeah, it was back when they still did 20 plus seasons, but
Yeah.
third season definitely third and fourth seasons are very very good, very very good.
Okay. All right. I look
Season
forward to them.
two season two had they have some good ones mixed in, but third and fourth season it really yeah. But it's all, the third season is definitely a product of its time period.
Okay.
When you watch it, you'll see what I'm talking about.
All right. Sounds good. I look forward to it. But hey, Will, thank you so much, man.
Yeah, man.
I appreciate it. I hope to have you
Yeah,
back. And if anything, this year, we got to start the Star Wars podcast. We got to get
yeah.
to Star Wars
Well,
Celebration in 2027.
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Well, we'll definitely. I know we'll definitely talk Mandalorian Grogu this year for sure.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, and also we got the Darth Maul show coming up also. So
Oh, that's dropping this year. The
yeah,
animated show.
I
Cool.
don't know if they locked down the date, but it is coming this year.
Okay, I look forward to that for sure. So yeah, definitely more Star Wars talk for you guys here. But we'll have a great weekend, man.
Yeah,
Enjoy the football games today.
yeah. Thank you.
And I'll talk with you soon.
Talk to you soon. Thanks for having me.
Take care,
Take
Will.
care, everyone. All right, bye.
All right, guys. And as Will departs, I think you know what time it is.
And now, everybody, it is time for live viewer questions.
And we're gonna get into our live viewer question portion of the show. If you guys ever want to submit a live viewer question, how do you do that? Well, let me go ahead and certainly show you. What you're going to do is you're going to go over to our YouTube channel. Every Saturday afternoon or Saturday evening, I will be posting a live viewer question post. So just go over to the post tab as you see here. Click on that post tab, and voila. Saturday evening, we went ahead and posted our posts. You submit them over, and then we'll answer them live on the air for you guys. So let's go ahead and knock these out. Marcelino, when it comes to Spider-Man's, only two questions this week, Marcelino. I wasn't quite sure. Maybe it's cut off. Let me know. When it comes to Sony Spider-Man universe, why did you keep giving Sony chance after chance? Or didn't start making assumptions about their movies being bad before they're released? Before they released. After the first Venom movie, many people knew what they were in for going forward, and they didn't want to continue to support it. And if it wasn't the first Venom movie, then it was Morbius that made people realize that these movies were bad. Well, Marcelino, you know, um, why didn't I just make assumptions about their movies being bad before they're released? Because I believe in giving people opportunities and chances. I believe that there's a world that we live in where people can learn from their mistakes and turn things around and hopefully make better movies. I've seen it plenty of times where a first movie is just okay or it's bad, but a second movie they've actually improved upon things. And I've said this before, but I try and because I'm a fan of things, because I love movies and I love television, I try and go into these things being optimistic and certainly open minded. That doesn't mean I'm blindly optimistic. I certainly can be hesitantly optimistic, but pessimistic about things is usually not my first take. Could it probably make me a bigger YouTuber if I was more pessimistic about things, if I yelled more loudly at the screen about things that I hate about certain franchises? Probably. My subscriber base and my income from YouTube would probably be through the roof. But that's not how I view myself as a fan. I appreciate the fact that I grew up in a time period where I didn't get these comic book movies, where I was a fan of just comic books. And I dreamed of the day that we would get movies. And regardless how good or bad a movie is, I never take that for granted that there was a time when we didn't get these movies. And so, despite how Sony has treated their stuff, maybe not being the biggest fan of some of the movies in the Venom franchise, there's a part of me that likes to think that maybe they have competent people, or at least once believed that they had competent people behind the scenes that would um, listen to what the fans were saying, what the critics were saying, and then take a step back and make changes for sequels or new movies or whatever the case may be. Sony has now made me a little bit more hesitant in that regards anytime that they announce things. But my first assumption is never to assume that a movie is going to be bad. Like it's hard enough to make a movie, let alone a good movie. So I'm just hopeful that they have the right staff around them to make good movies. Unfortunately, that's just not the case. But I would never lead with pessimism first. So I never want to try and make assumptions that a movie is just immediately going to be bad. I mean, maybe sometimes I do every now and then, but I try and give people in studios certainly the benefit of the doubt until they just continue to prove me wrong. Right. Sometimes a trailer hits me a certain way, and I'm like, that trailer looks really good. Doesn't mean that the movie's going to be great, but a trailer can certainly make me hopeful for things. Um, but yeah, Morbius, Madam Web. Yeah, I've really learned to, at least at this point now, sort of distrust Sony in regards to it, which is why I'm okay with the idea of them taking a break. Because I would rather them focus on working with the MCU and making those Sony and Marvel collaboration movies successful, and then maybe get some better people in power to make better decisions for them. But Sony always keeps me, now at this point, keeps me um, cautiously, very, very cautious. I don't even say cautiously optimistic, but just keeps me very cautious about any Spider-Man or superhero movies that they announce. But yeah, I never try and lead with pessimism. Why did you think that Black Lightning would get a Outsider spinoff when Black Lightning was the Outsider spinoff? Interview with the Vampire changed his title to the Vampire Less Than. why did I think that Black Adam would get a Outsider spinoff when Black Adam was the Outsider spinoff? Well, I don't see it that way at all. It's not like we didn't have an Outsiders television show. Um, while yes, Black Lightning is a part of the Outsiders, we never had like Batwoman show or a Batman show that cameoed Black Lightning or had set up sort of this Outsiders team or had an Outsiders show and was like, okay, now we're going to give you a Black Lightning show. That's not how it went down or worked at all. Um, Black Lightning, from a television standpoint, was the first show. So, and then when that show starts out by setting up other characters that would eventually be in an Outsiders team, naturally, I would have thought Black Lightning would then lead to an Outsiders spinoff show. I mean, you could think to yourself, comic book wise, the Outsiders, yeah, and then maybe that's a Black Lightning thing. Um, Black Lightning being that team from a comic book perspective and then spinning out into his own television series, that's fine. But I'm talking from a television point of view. There's never been an Outsiders TV show. There's never been a Batman TV show that's hinted or suggested that the Outsiders even being a thing. Our first uh our first introduction to anybody from the Outsiders truly is Black Lightning with his own show. So that's how I always viewed it. Black Lightning comes first, and then the Outsiders spinoff would have hopefully have come out of that, but it unfortunately just never came that way. So I just don't view it the same way. AJ, the Morphing Grid. Oh my gosh, bro. A tribute to the unadapted Dark Ranger. Shout out to Heckle, man. Dino Supercharge found a remarkably clever way to honor the unadapted villain, Death Yuger, from Q Ranger. Though a direct adaptation of the Dark Ranger suit was reportedly scrapped due to rights issues with Saban, the series successfully wove his legacy into its narrative. The main antagonist, Heckle and Snide, who was originally speculated to become the Dark Ranger, was eventually connected to the villain's legacy when his destroyed home planet was named Sentai 6, and he finally debuted as the official Dark Ranger in the 30th anniversary in Cosmic Fury. Before this, however, the show subtly introduced elements related to Death Yuger. The Silver Ranger arc introduced the evil entity Doomwing as an evil ranger, wielding the silver energem, essentially standing in for the evil armored figure, the monster Baduza, adapted from Night D. Um, I'm just gonna skip some of this. Ultimately, the journey of Dino Supercharge serves as a masterclass in creative adaptation, demonstrating how a production can successfully honor beloved elements from its source material, even when facing external constraints. I would agree. By scattering Death Yuger's core components, um, throughout the season's narrative, the show paid a profound and successful tribute to the character. This groundwork made Heckle's eventual return in the official as the official Dark Ranger and Dino Charge in Cosmic Fury, utilizing a hybrid suit, the element from Kyoryu Navy from the Q Yuger's 100 Years After film. Feel like an earned and satisfying culmination of a long-running subtle homage. Um, what did you think of the PR veteran, head writer, and executive producer Chip Lynn being able to honor Death Yuger while not actually using the Ranger suit? I appreciated it, but at times it was definitely frustrating because I just wanted to see him. Like I just wanted to utilize the Ranger suit. So there are elements that I'm like, hey, that's cool that you're doing that and all. Those are great nods to people that know of the character. But ultimately, I was always kind of bummed that we never actually got that to happen and never really came to fruition. And then it took another sort of head writer and things like that to actually bring that character to life. So, I mean, it's always one of those things where it's just like, what came first, the chicken or the egg sort of thing. I don't know if they meant to drop those things, those nuggets and those things honoring the character to then think, oh, well, down the road, we're eventually going to make him appear. And so once he makes his appearance in the costume, then it finally is all going to come together. I don't think Chip Lynn thought that far in advance. So I think he was very limited in what he could do. So it was cool to see, but frustrating that at the time in Dino Charge, that stuff wasn't necessarily paid off very well. But I am glad that eventually Heckle gets his his just due as the Death Ranger or the Dark Ranger, I should say. Peg C, what are your thoughts on WB once again rejecting the Paramount offer in favor of the Netflix deal? I mean, from what I heard, this is like the 8th rejection that Warner Brothers has given Paramount. And at this point, I'm just thinking to myself, like, bro, like how much rejection can one studio literally take? Like, it's like that saying, no means no. And it's like, how many times does this person have to tell you no before you now just turn into like the creepy ex-boyfriend that can't handle rejection? Like that's what Paramount is coming across as, is like the boyfriend that got dumped, and now he's turning abusive, or he's just becoming really annoying in the sense of just continuing to try and push himself on this person that doesn't want them, and they got to constantly tell him, no, get away, no, I'm done with you, no. How many times do I have to tell you? Like, Paramount, stop. Like, just stop, Paramount. Warner Brothers is not into you. They're not that into you, bro. Like, just get the picture. But it doesn't surprise me based off of the people that are running Paramount and just their mentality of just thinking, we've got the money, we can get anything that we want to. We can grab Warner Brothers by the P if we want to. And just they'll just accept it and take it. Like, no, bro, like Warner Brothers does not want you anymore. They have, I will say though, Warner Brothers needs to just stop taking offers. Like, Warner Brothers, you're sending all the mixed messages right now. You're like, okay, maybe I'll listen to you. Maybe we'll have a conversation and talk about this. And they keep coming to the same conclusion. Just stop talking to them. Just stop talking to them. Like, Warner Brothers is turning into like the toxic female who's just like a constant tease, who doesn't want to be with this person, but continues to let them in their life. And it's just like, okay, well, maybe we'll talk about it some more. Like, no, just stop. You got to get away from, like, stop. If they get to like the 10th offer, and then Warner Brothers is like, you know what, Netflix, I think I've decided to go back to my toxic and abusive boyfriend. No, stop it. Stop it. Stop it, Warner Brothers. Why are you taking all these offers? And Paramount, stop it too. You're not good for each other. Do you hear me? You're not good for each other. So yeah, I hope they leave it alone. God, it's really annoying at this point. Like, how much rejection can one studio take? Peg C, Avengers Doomsday is rumored to be 3 hours and 45 minutes. What are your thoughts? Impossible. Impossible. No, I don't believe that at all. I don't believe that at all. That's such a long movie. That's like an extended cut of Lord of the Rings. Like, it's not happening. There's no way the studio will allow Avengers Doomsday to be 3 hours and 45 minutes. This is a rumor I can tell you right now. You can debunk. I think maybe the longest MCU movie was like 3 hours barely. So to turn out to be 3 hours and 45 minutes, no. It's not only because the studio would just not allow it. Two, you would get very limited amount of screen time play in theaters with that long of a runtime. So it'd be really hard to kind of make any money back. And lastly, and the most important one, this movie is a year away. There is no way that they have some level of a final cut in mind or know exactly what this movie is going to be. They're into post-production right now, probably putting a musical score together, probably editing a movie down. I don't even know if they've got a first cut or a second cut of this movie even done yet. They're probably going to do some level of maybe reshoots during this year. Maybe still waiting to see how something like Spider-Man Brand New Day does, how it's received. Maybe there's some reshoots after that, some changes that they certainly want to make. So there's so much time before Avengers Doomsday comes out. Maybe this is like the first cut of the film. or maybe it's just an assumption of what the first cut of the film looks like. But trust me when I say this movie is not, it is not going to be 3 hours and 45 minutes by the time this movie comes out. If anything, maybe high 2 hours and 50 or 45 minutes. Maybe if we're going on the long end, maybe 3 hours and 5 minutes, 3:10, 3:15, but not 3 hours and 45 minutes. Like 3 hours and 10 and 15 minutes is maybe even on the too long end. If you can come high 2 hours, right at 3 hours, then maybe you got something. But no, I don't believe this rumor at all. There's just too many things that have not happened yet for them to even know what the final cut of their movie is going to be. Um, Number three, Go User is the 50th anniversary show and is ending its planned 49 episodes with the final episode airing at February 8th, which concludes the long-running Super Sentai series, leading to a hiatus as the new franchise Project Red. As of early January, there will be very few episodes left, like just a handful that's already nearing its conclusion. Could this new franchise, Project Red, become bigger than Super Sentai? And are you excited? I don't know if it could become as big as Super Sentai. I mean, we're talking about 50 years here. There's a part of me that wants to think that Super Sentai would come back before another 50 years. Um, so I don't know if it can become as big, like become bigger than Super Sentai, but I do think that there's a chance that it can become bigger than what its earlier iterations were. I think you had mentioned when we talked, Pexi, on the side that they had gotten like 3 seasons out of Space Sheriff Gavin. I can easily see if this is done well, at least 5 seasons if this is done well, right? So I think it could become bigger than its earlier predecessor of itself. But as far as bigger than Super Sentai, probably not. I don't know, but who knows? I won't be here in 50 years. So maybe somebody. I mean, maybe I will. I'll be like 93 at that time. So God willing, maybe I'll be able around at 93 to tell you, Peg C, you were right. It did become bigger than Super Sentai. But I doubt I'll be there to tell you. But no, so I don't think so. I think 50 years is a crazy benchmark. Um, it probably could become a great show, though. It probably become a great show, though. And yes, I'm very excited for it. I'm very excited for it. Blossom. Oh, Jizo, Lulu, can you believe Ghost User is almost over? I wonder how Super Sentai will be rebranded. Still a little worried. Well, I don't necessarily know if it's going to be rebranded. I guess technically it's being rebranded into this Project Red stuff for Space Sheriff Gavin Infinity. Um, so yeah, I'm not expecting Super Sentai teams any longer unless they make maybe individual cameos or they make cameos in this series for a Space Gavin Infinity. Maybe they tend to fit into the story, but there certainly won't be the focus, I believe, as of right now. So Ghost User definitely seems like the last of Super Sentai to me here. A little bit of a bummer. I still want to revisit things like King Oger and Don Brothers whenever I get the opportunity to do so. But definitely going to be sad to see Super Sentai go from here as Space Sheriff Gavin kind of takes over and leads the way. So sorry about that, Blossom. Um, Jessica Friedman, is there word on when the new season of My Adventures of Superman will premiere? And do you think we could have one last Arrowverse team up in the last season of the do you think we could have had one less Arrowverse team up in the last season of the Flash if they had more than 13 episodes? Yeah, I think so. I think if the last Flash season was a few episodes longer, I think they probably would have made it imperative to have some other type of Arrowverse team up in a way. Maybe not as big as like a crossover event, but maybe somebody return that people are familiar with. As far as what season would that be? Let me see. My Adventures of Superman returning. It just says it has confirmed that the season 3 will air early 2026. but I'm not seeing oh, hold on. This is from the direct. This was an article on December 5th, 2025. Um, from the direct. Again, this is December 5th, 2025, for just a little bit over a month ago. It says, My Adventures of Superman, highly anticipated third season, hit a setback as the next chapter in the animated series is no longer arriving as soon as fans had hoped for. Um, some fans expected the tail end of 2025 to be the case, but that's not it. At the time, work on season 3 seemed far enough along that even some of the speculated series would drop as late year bonus for DC viewers. But yeah, there's nothing. It says with the series' absence, however, the show is officially pushed to early 2026, marking the first break in its year-to-year rollout. It doesn't say what the setback certainly was, but it just says it's been pushed. So maybe they just weren't done on certain animation or whatever the case may be. So right now they saying early 2026, but who knows when that could be? Maybe like March or April, I would assume. But don't quote me on that. Marky Parko, the 2014 movie Need for Speed, based on the popular video game, was sometimes criticized as a Fast and the Furious copycat, yet many wished it had received a sequel, seen as it had potential alternative that could be remained grounded. This desire stemmed from the Fast and Furious franchise evolving into a completely different spy-themed action series. Do you think Need for Speed sequel could have genuinely offered a successful, more realistic rival to the later Fast and the Furious films? Um, I'm trying to see what the Need for Speed Rotten Tomatoes score was like. I didn't see it, but I didn't see the movie, but I do remember it because it had the guy from Breaking Bad involved. Um, but I never saw it. It doesn't look like it was critically acclaimed. 23% critics, 56% Rotten Tomato. So it seems as though maybe about half the people liked it, half the people didn't. Didn't really care for it too much. Um, so yeah, they probably weren't gonna. They probably had no internal talk about doing a sequel. Um, just because the first one was so badly received. So yeah, unfortunate, Marky. I'm sorry. My friends call me Joseph. What do you think of the compelling fan theory suggests Doctor Doom, played by RDJ, might be utilizing Tony's face in Doomsday to emotionally manipulate the heroes, a potentially devastating plot point for a returning Spider-Man. However, this multiverse hopping event, which also includes the confirmed return of Chris Evans as Steve Rogers, is seen by some as an exciting reunion and by others as an attempt to undo Avengers Impact and to rectify the MCU's recent track record of underwhelming films. Given this intense divide, do you think using the image of a deceased hero as a new villain's face is a brilliant emotional twist or a cynical attempt to exploit fan nostalgia? It's probably a little bit of both, but I have a feeling it's more brilliant emotional twist. Um, because, and I only say that because that's where my mind goes when that's where my mind went when this first initially dropped was, man, can you imagine the idea of somebody with Tony Stark's face and the reveal and what that's going to do to this cast of characters? For anybody that was close to Tony Stark, let alone like Peter Parker, that fascinates me. Like that really fascinates me. Only for there to be like this twist of him revealing who he certainly it really is as Doctor Doom, what his intentions certainly truly are, and how our characters have to deal with that emotional struggle of fighting, quote unquote, a friend of theirs. Like to me, like just from a story perspective, that's really fascinating, just based off of um how deep the emotional ties went with some of these characters in regards to Tony Stark. And I think that really makes for really great, compelling um, a really compelling story and a movie. So, it might be a little bit of both in regards to like exploiting fan nostalgia. Um, but I have a feeling it's more based off of a brilliant emotional twist that can happen in the story. So it could be both, but I think it's more so than the other. Watching Sarsk. What's up, watching? What if Spider-Man Brand New Day or Spider-Man 4 features a Shang-Chi cameo, particularly since the film is directed by Destin? Such an appearance with Simu Liu reprising his role would be a welcome reminder to many fans whom have been eagerly awaiting a sequel that the MCU has not forgotten Shang-Chi, addressing some fans' concerns about oversaturating Spider-Man storyline since No Way Home. This crossover would also honor the source material as they have teamed up and established friends and allies in the comic books. Watching, you bring up something interesting because I swore I thought I saw an interview or read an interview of Simu Liu where he mentioned something about you might see him return sooner than you think. Let me see. I'm trying to see. Oh, here we go. Um, yeah, back in 2023, Simu Liu hints that his character Shang-Chi would return to the MCU sooner than expected. And this was in February of 2023. Um, so I remember speculating on the idea of like where we could see him pop up at. Um, and if that's the case, um, I don't know if he would say that if he only thought, um, hey, I'm only going to be in an Avengers movie. So I think there might have been plans in place for him to pop up somewhere else. He wasn't in Thunderbolts. He wasn't in Captain America: Brave New World. He wasn't in Fantastic Four. Maybe Spider-Man: Brand New Day is that sooner than you think mentality of his. So I'm not gonna call this over exaggeration or anything like that. I do think it's a huge possibility. There's rumors that Spider-Man may face off against the Hand in this movie. If that's the case, I could easily see Shang-Chi having a cameo of some sort. It does feel like this movie might be getting cameo heavy with Sadie Sink playing somebody, John Bernthal as the Punisher, Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk. We'll see what this movie turns out to be. It could be maybe just a mid-credit or end credit scene that maybe leads us into something like Avengers Doomsday, since we know that Shang-Chi is also going to be in Avengers Doomsday. So maybe there's an end credit scene at the end of Spider-Man Brand New Day where he kind of pops up at, whether that's an interaction with Spider-Man that I don't know, but it would be fitting for him to pop up in a Spider-Man movie. So I'm not going to call it an over exaggeration. I think this is a good what if, a good possibility here. So we'll see. Alex, what's up, Alex? Appreciate you coming through. What are your thoughts on many families and so individuals making life-changing move by purchasing and converting RVs, buses, and vans and building tiny homes to live off the grid and remotely work? This has become a significant shift for many people across the globe. It allows individuals to invest more time in family and personal life by gaining independence from high-cost major cities and traditional office jobs, being able to teach their children to appreciate the little things in life. Ultimately, this movement represents a powerful pursuit of financial freedom and a lifestyle focused on flexibility and personal priorities. You may check examples online. Well, let me just say this, two things real quick. One person that I follow on YouTube, John Campia. You might have heard of him. He does a ton of movie talk. He's actually what inspired me to kind of get into this field a little bit. But he I believe he's purchased a van um uh for him and his wife to travel. They don't have any kids or anything like that, but he has been thinking about traveling more often by utilizing his van, and he's purchased this van that is that allows him to kind of live off the grid and has like a satellite built in so that he can still work in his van and host his show. And he does that from time to time. If he's not in the studio and he's traveling in his van, he literally will stream live on a daily basis from the inside of his van with his co-host kind of remotely in. And so um, I've seen it done before. Two, my girlfriend would love this life. My girlfriend would love this life. If we can convert some sort of like RV or a bus or a van and just travel wherever we want to while having everything inside. I love that idea. I really do. I think if there's anything about the lifestyle that concerns me is like I do want some level of stability for my child, for my son, to kind of get a proper education. I don't know how built we are for homeschooling and things like that in regards to him, us traveling with our son and having to teach him along the way and not have him solidified in like one particular school to make a one particular group of friends as he grows up. So like people that have kids and travel like this, I don't know how they do it. If we were single or not single, but yeah, if we were single or if we were just a couple that maybe didn't have intentions of having kids or at least not yet, then maybe this would be the lifestyle. But I got no complaints with people that want this type of lifestyle for themselves. Like, do you, if this is what makes you happy, to be in nature, to be off the grid, to be self-sufficient for yourself, have at it. I got no qualms with people like that. As far as for me goes, I know my girlfriend would love this life for sure. My biggest concern would just simply be just my son, really, just my child. But thanks for that question, Alex. Um, is this really the last question? One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10. Yeah. Johnny Marrero. Appreciate you coming through, Johnny. How do you feel about the potential casting so far with Momana Tamata from Avatar, Peyton Elizabeth Lee, Andy Mack, and Pompact, and Joel Outlet from Descendants Wicked Wonderland being a potential Red Ranger? I mean, it's exciting. I hear that Momana um, is the in the lead in regards to the short list of people. Outside of the initial list that we talked about last week, we haven't really talked about um any other names because I feel like ever since we talked about it, more and more names continue to be released. And so I really don't know what's going on as of right now, but the only thing that I've heard was a lot of the names that were announced actually are possibly for the reason why there's so many names is there's just a lot of actors that are potentially up for the role as the lead Red Ranger alone. Like that's not even talking about them filling other roles or whatever the case may be for the series itself. So a lot of the names may solely be for just one role. But I am hearing that Momana Tomata from Avatar is on the lead of the short list of actors. So good luck to all of them. I'm really not familiar with a lot of these actors. So I really don't have an opinion one or another, but it could be potentially a really great opportunity for them. Who do you think is going to be the Pink Ranger for the Power Rangers reboot? I have no idea. I really have no idea. Who is more likely to be the Phantom for Kenny Ortega's Phantom for Disney Plus? For me, it's Malachi Barton. But what do you think? Kenny Ortega's Phantom? Let me look this up. I'm not familiar with it. Kenny Ortega's Phantom. Oh, Phantom of the Opera reimagination. Oh yeah, Kenny Ortega. He's led two major Disney franchises with High School Musical and The Descendants. This article is way back in 2024 though. Um, trying to see if there's any other news in regards to it a little bit more current than that. Yeah, I'm not too familiar with who did you say? You said Malachi Barton. Who's that? Malachi Barton, American actor. Oh, handsome guy. Have I seen him in anything before? He appeared in several Disney Channel productions. Best known in his role as Beast Diaz and Stuck in the Middle and Colby Madden in The Villain of Valley View. Oh, he also played Victor in Zombies. Okay. Yeah, maybe. It's certainly a possibility. I don't know if they've even announced anybody for the Phantom yet, but we'll see. I'll keep you posted if I find anything, though, Johnny. But yeah, I would be open to him. Why not? But that will do it, guys, for all of our live viewer questions. Let me just refresh this just to make sure. Yeah, I think that's everybody. But yeah, the Power Ranger stuff does have me interested. Jin Saku, I would recommend everybody follow Jin Saku on Twitter for their up-to-date Power Ranger news. If anything concrete certainly drops, like official casting announcements or anything like that, I'll certainly let you know. But the latest stuff that I heard was that a lot of the names were really vying for one particular role, and the potential of the Red Ranger being a female for the series, I think is highly likely. But I think that's an assumption that we've had here for quite some time in regards to a Power Ranger reboot um, being led by a female Red Ranger. I just think we're in that time period where that it just feels like something that would certainly happen at this point in time. But we'll see. May the best person win this role. But I am excited as casting continues on. But yeah, once we actually get like firm um, names announced, we'll definitely bring more Power Ranger news to you guys for sure. But I'll keep you posted. But guys, that will do it for our episode of A Plus Hero Report today. Thank you guys so much for certainly joining me each and every week. We'll see if I can get Will back next weekend, or if not, I'll kind of comb the interwebs, and see if we can have ourselves another co-host, somebody different here, or maybe I'll just rock solo dolo. We'll see. We'll see what drops next weekend, but I'll definitely keep you guys posted throughout the week. What else is on the timetable for our channel here? I definitely want to try and see some more movies to kick off this year. I am a little bit behind. I need to start my 2026 off strong. So there are some new movies out there that I want to see. 28 days later, or 28 years later, The Bone Temple is coming out this week. I might do a review for that. We also have We Bury Our Dead. The Daisy Ridley zombie movie just came out last week, I believe. I want to kind of check that out too. I've been hearing about this Primates movie. I didn't have any keen interest in it, but I've been hearing some good things about it. So maybe it's something I'll check out for myself. But who certainly knows? So yeah, expect maybe some movie reviews on the channel later on this week. If we get big news or big trailers that wind up dropping, I might certainly talk a little bit more about them on the channel as well. So we'll make sure we have some fresh content for you guys on the channel this week before coming back for next Sunday's live episode of A Plus Hero Report. Actually, okay, yeah, you know what? I probably will be back. Oh, maybe not. Actually, next Sunday is my girlfriend's birthday. We'll see. Maybe we can make afternoon plans, and she allows me to come live on Sunday. So I'll keep you guys posted because it is my girlfriend's birthday that day. So I may or may not be here, but I'll keep you guys posted throughout the week with new content for sure. But other than that, guys, that's going to do it for me here today. I'll certainly see you guys next time. But in the meantime, do me a big favor, as always. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and keep it A+. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.